Whoa, now. What's up, good people? What's going on with you? How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing? Welcome to Monday. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Isn't it some new stuff happening in the city? We're going to talk about this weather. We got to talk about what happened last week at our conversation piece with our young folks. And we got to talk about what's happening tomorrow night. Oh, baby. Everybody named Mom is looking for this debate tomorrow night. What about you? Are you looking forward to the debate tomorrow night? Are you thinking that there's going to be some fireworks, or will it be boring? Will it put some differences in your opinions in the debate? What do you think? What do you think? So, as you can see, we've got several different topics that we need to talk about on today. We need to talk about a couple of things, and I got to say thank you to Dr. Shepard, who's more than likely going to be with us in the 2 o'clock hour to have some conversation on what do we get out of our conversation with Congressman Troy Carter, Senator Royce DePlessis, Representative Delisha Boyd, our student advisor with the NAACP for Xavier, Dr. Delaney from Dillard and from SUNO, and all the students that came into the UC over at Xavier over here last week to make their voices heard about why they think voting might not be important or why they think that it should be. Plus, we had a representative, and I'm sorry, please, I need to ask Dr. Shepard this one, but we had a representative that came all the way down from Morgan City, so that he could take part in Thursday's conversation piece, and not only that, but wants us to come down there and do it for Morgan City. I was like, what? I did. I said, what? He did. He said, I want y'all to come down and please do it here. I said, I don't think we reach down in that area. We may be doing it on the internet, but maybe not with the broadcast. He said, can you record it and play it back? I was like, yes, sir. He said, that's what I'd like for y'all to do. I said, all right, we could do that. We could do that. So people reaching out all across the state and asking us to have these conversations. And then one young lady walked up to the microphone and said, that's good that y'all doing it up in here with students and young folks that, may be a little bit more astute. Might be fine. I was like, okay. She said, but what about that young person that is not? I said, what you want me to say about that? She said, I want you to make sure that you say to them that they can come to these things, and we also find a way that they get involved. I was like, all right, we can do that too. I said, now, if we go to talk to them, will you come too? She said, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm like, all right, I have no problem with that. We'll go where we need to go. Do we need to go to the barbershop? Do we need to go to the place? Well, where we need to go. And that's a good conversation for us too. Where do we need to go to have these conversations with other folks? Do we need to go to the do we need to go to the barbershop? Do we need to go to the beauty shop? Where we need to go? Come on, 504-582-9422. I'm wondering. Because I don't want to do it too late. I want to get it in. Where we need to go? Do we need to go to somebody's barbershop? Do we need to go to somebody's beauty shop? Do we need to go to somebody's restaurant? Where do we need to go to have these conversations? We'll go. But if we go, y'all need to make sure that you come. Because, pulling my coattail and just trying to get me to go somewhere is not good. Because I'm probably gonna say something about that, especially if the folks don't show up. So where we need to go? Restaurant? When we need to do it? During time y'all at work? Do we need to come to somebody's library? Do I need to film it? Because y'all know we got one of the best cameramen that sit here. Oh, I was talking about myself. No, we got the equipment. We'll do it. Oh, everybody got quiet all of a sudden. So they got quiet? Don't get quiet, no. Let's do it. Let's get it in. All right. So I'm just saying, everybody didn't got quiet. So I understand y'all got quiet. But you don't need to be quiet now when we ask the question where we need to do it at. All right, here's the other deal. Some of the conversation pieces were so intense that some folks thought it was good to see folks engaged. Okay. But what were you expecting? What were you expecting? Were you expecting some type of fluff? I'll let I'll let Dr. Charlotte take care of that part, because there ain't nothing that she's trying to put together, and her students were engaged. Dr. Delaney's students were engaged, but they were asking questions, I think, that were crucial to see folks get out and vote. And I'm hoping that you were too. I am hoping that you were too. All right. The other thing too that everybody's all geared up about is the debate for tomorrow night. What do you expect? Do you think there'll be a lot of fireworks? Do you think there will be fireworks? Or do you think that this is going to be an inroad to somebody's campaign? I think, now that's just me, I think that we're going to see Kamala Harris's campaign take off. Will there be any big bumps? And what do you think? Because I think that your boy is going to lose it, because he's sitting up there talking to a black woman, which he probably hadn't done in a while. And then every conversation that Donald Trump has had with a black woman has been about him doing something pretty bad. You had, what's her name in Georgia? You had the black woman who is the attorney general for the state of New York. Who else? Every black woman that seems to have a conversation with Donald Trump is usually prosecuting him for something and not a Trumper. Not at all. So we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. And we shall see. But I do want your advice. I want your advice. What do you think? Because it's important that we try to establish what to expect. I got my folks that I'm going to rely on that can give us some idea of what they expect. Of course, there's going to be Mr. Elmore. Y'all know Mr. Elmore always call me and says, hey, this is what you can expect. This is what I saw. These are the things. So I know Mr. Elmore going to be one of those that I can rely on. Who else? I know Ty is going to be one of them because I know Ty is going to pick up the phone and she's going to call me and tell me what she think and what she saw. I already know that. Ronald probably going to call me and tell me what he think and what he saw. I know Mr. Harold going to call me and tell me what he saw. But Mr. Harold going to call me and tell me about the whole show. And then tell me what he saw. And then there is, let me see, P-Town. What? Why you got that look on your face? What?
I'm waiting for you to say my name.
You ain't going to call me. You ain't got to call me and tell me nothing. You're going to be sitting right here and tell me. And plus, you're going to be here.
I just thought you ain't think that I was going to be watching it.
You ain't?
I am.
How you going to watch? Where you going to be?
Huh?
You can be right here. What start, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm off.
You get off at 7 o'clock. And you going to leave and go where? No, you going to sit up in there and watch it? So you going to watch it? Okay. I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. That's all. I just said. No disrespect. Yeah, I know you're going to tell me anyway. So you ain't got to call me. So you're going to be sitting right there. As a matter of fact, all I got to say is, Jazz, host the show. You go, I got you, G. And move on. All right, we got to take our first break. We'll take the first break here. We'll come back. More conversation in just a few minutes. We'll open up the telephone lines at 504-582-9422. More is coming back with your telephone calls next, right here on WBOK.
Hey, New Orleans, Tavis Smiley here, inviting you to join me each weekday evening at 7 p.m. right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. for the Tavis Smiley Show. You can expect great guests and getting the answers you need to know. It's the Tavis Smiley Show on our new home in New Orleans, WBOK 1230 a.m.
Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
Boost your savings with a CD from Home Bank. For a limited time, Home Bank is offering 5.05% annual percentage yield on a 5-month CD. If you want a longer term, take advantage of the 4.50% APY on a 9-month CD. The minimum balance for this special is just $2,500. So speak with a banker at any Home Bank location today. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Welcome back to school, families and scholars. NOLA Public Schools is excited to kick off another exciting year of learning, growth, and success. Our dedicated teachers have been preparing all summer to provide an engaging and enriching experience for every student. Let's embrace new challenges, celebrate achievements, and make this school year the best one yet. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS by visiting our social media channels. Here's to a year filled with curiosity, creativity, and community. Attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Calling all college students. The National African American Insurance Association presents their free 2024 Career Fair and Expo September 17th and 18th. To register, go to naaia.national on Instagram and use the link in the bio.
WBOK is pleased to announce the reboot of Crosstown Conversations with host Gene Nathan. A heightened focus on cultural entertainment events and the creators who present them. The new time is now Saturday at noon. Tune into the stories of our exploding creative scene with Gene Nathan on Crosstown Conversations.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. Monday. My number 504-582-9422. A whole bunch of stuff we need to talk about. George, what you got?
Bro, what's orange and fat and can only be seen when you're looking up?
What's orange and fat? The sun?
And can only be seen when I'm looking up.
The sun?
No, bro, that pimple on the back of my AZZ, that call that big orange pimple. That's that Trump pimple, bro.
Stick
Come
to
back
what you
tomorrow,
know,
you'll get
because no, stick what you know, because being a comedian is not gonna help you. No,
Not
Come
a
back
bit,
tomorrow, bro.
George.
It'll catch up to you, bro. That's the pimple on the bottom of my. You have to look up to see it.
No, George, we got it. We got it.
We got it. We got it. And
Okay.
There's a problem. There is a problem. The only person laughing right now is you.
Well, I can't help that. I'm on my meds.
No, sir.
bro.
No, sir. No, sir.
Don't blame it on the meds, George. Don't blame it on the meds.
I gotta have somewhere to go with that, bro. But look, bro. Here's the one question that I have this whole political campaign, and everybody seems to be glossing over it, right?
What's that?
Things that Donald Trump inherited, that he squandered.
What you mean?
You know, he inherited like $400 million from his daddy. And he squandered that money, all in lawsuits and bankruptcies and everything. They was like, he couldn't hold that money, he couldn't keep it if he wanted it, right? Well, here's the precursor to his presidency, because what he honestly inherited was a great Obama-Biden economy. We came in after the crash when Obama went into office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did all the necessary things to correct the economy and told people, you're not going to feel it right away. It's not going to be an instant cure, but I'm doing all these things. Me and Joe Biden doing all these things to give us a healthy economy. Now, the person who would have inherited that healthy economy, had she won, was Hillary Clinton. And all this talk about Trump and having a great economy, he inherited that economy. And I don't know why Democrats aren't talking about that. Because everybody's giving him credit for something, again, he did not earn. It's the craziest thing in the world to hear this over and over and over and not have one Democrat with the sense enough to say, hey, bro, you inherited an economy that was repaired by Obama and Biden. And that's the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you think about that, bro? That's kind of like...
I was trying to figure out what was the question. What's the question, though?
The question is why they don't bring the attention to that. Why don't they focus to give Trump that he inherited Obama-Biden fixed economy after the housing crash of 2008, where he went in and gave away $2 trillion because everything was going so well with his tax plan, but he didn't never have a great economy. He never created a great economy. He inherited an economy.
Well, usually what happens, and this is something, too, that I thought everybody would realize, and that is usually, and I'm just going to say it's usually somebody on that side that messes the economy up, and it's usually the Democrats that come back and try to fix it.
That's what happened.
And after they fix it, but it ain't just this one. This one time, it always happens that way.
I know, but this one has significance, and that's the point I'm making. This one has a real significance because Obama came after Bush with the housing crash. 2008, the economy, everybody in the world was running around with their head screaming the world's coming to an end.
Okay, my point would be that it always happens that way, and that's how it always goes. So that's number one. Then the other part that I would tell you is, if I keep telling you something over and over and over and over again, you might say exactly what you're saying right now. That's not true, da 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 da. But if I keep telling you that over and over and over and over and over again, at some point in time, you may see and say, did it really happen that way? So if I keep saying it over and over and over and over again, somebody gonna believe me. And
I get that.
That's what we come in. I'm just thinking that folks are tired of the doom and gloom. Why we keep living in a world of doom and gloom, and the world's going to end, and we're sitting around, and this is going to be the worst country in the world. I was like, dang, but why is everybody trying to come over here? If this is the worst country in the world, why is everybody trying to live here?
I can follow you on that whole subject matter. But at the same time, I'm like, they are giving him credit for something. Again, I'm going along things he inherited in this world and screwed it up. He inherited, without doubt, the results of 8 years of correction by the Obama-Biden administration. And if that ain't, we know that that's the road. Republicans screw it up, Democrats straighten it out. But this is noteworthy in and of itself as a time frame. We know the norm. And see, the problem with accepting norm sometimes is we kind of lose the focus of the reality. And this is a reality. I'm looking at a thing the other day when they say people who trust either Trump or Harris with the economy, and 53% of the people are saying that they trust in Trump with the economy. I don't know why, because he never created an economy. He only inherited.
So if I keep trying to tell you, I just told you though. So if I keep telling you over and over and over again how great I was, and then of course everybody said I trust Trump with the economy because they think that it was Trump that sent them that money, during the time that we were all out of work, or other words, because his name was on the check, but it was the Democrats. But it was the Democrats that put that surplus money out there for them. They had to make a deal with him to say, to get that money to the people, he wanted his name on the check. So everybody thinks that he's the one that sent them the money. That's all that is.
That too. And that's only a part of the conversation I'm circling around to. That's only part of it. Yeah, he gave him the check, but the fact that the economy was not just the check. The
economy was in a crapper. The economy was in a crapper, and it was in a crapper during the time that he was in office because of the fact that he didn't do what he was supposed to do when he was supposed to take care of folks with this pandemic.
The rebound in the economy was the fact that we were cruising along on an interest rate of 1%, 2%, and 3%, 1% and 2% interest. That was Obama fix to the economy. When he went into office with low interest rates, federal interest rates, people borrowing and spending and building like their mind was going bad. There was so much construction during that period of time that had nothing to do with Trump. And that's the point of my conversation. The point of my conversation is they see things happening, but they're giving credit to somebody who only inherited this economy. Because when they went to correct the economy, Trump went out of his way, which became public knowledge, to tell the Feds not to raise the interest rates. They went for early correction. And he went out of his way to convince the Feds not to raise the interest rates. Then we went into the crapper with COVID. But he's getting credit for something that he did not do. And that's my point. I don't know why the Democrats, because it's an easy sell for them to say, hey, why are you giving this guy credit for an economy that was rebuilt by the time he got the economy, which you thought was Obama. It was another Biden economy that he inherited.
Well,
and it was a fix.
I understand you preaching to the choir. But my whole point is, why haven't you called your representative and asked?
Because I'm going to do that today. Because I'm like, why ain't I
you telling me?
You say this?
Well, why are you telling me? Why didn't you call him first and then tell me the results of that?
Because you didn't call my name out are all them people you expect to hear from after the debate.
Now you know
didn't
why.
Call my, yes, he didn't
but
call
now
my
you know
name
why.
out either, bro.
Now you know why. Because you're going to make your points to me and you preach it to the choir.
Bro,
Give me
I
the
gotta
results.
preach to somebody,
Give
bro.
me-
You the radio. You in my ear.
Give me
It's
the
an echo.
results of your conversation with the representative that can make the change first.
See, there you go again, trying to make good sense out of stuff, bro. But that's why black people be listening to your radio station while you be pissing off white boys.
See, you're going to get me in trouble. That's all you're trying to do. You trying now. I thought we was boys. Now you're trying to get me in
I
trouble.
don't need to get you in trouble, bro. All I need to do is stand by with the fire hose to try to help put the fire out. You gonna go step in that flame yourself, bro. You be bringing people with you.
Help you.
You be like, y'all show up here, and black people show up there.
No. That's not true. That is not true.
All right. You don't be saying that. You be saying like there's a meeting that's going to be held.
And there you go. That's right.
That's what you be doing. There's a meeting that's going to be held on such and such a date, and and any inquiring mind might want to be there and know what the hell's going on.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Can't make nobody do nothing they don't want to do.
That's right, bro. You know how to put them breadcrumbs down just right.
That's
so
what
that
we're
you got
supposed to do.
plausible deniability.
Yeah.
I didn't create this gang of people here.
No, sir. That's my whole thing, and I stick to it. Mm-hmm.
I know that's right, bro. I know that's
All
right.
right, let me ask you this question. Tomorrow, the debate tomorrow night, what are you expecting? What are you expecting?
I tell you what I'm expecting. You kind of labeled most of it off. All of the black women that this boy already had problems with. You remember earlier in the broadcast, he kind of like all them black women he had problem with. And what I'm expecting is that he's going to show up on stage. He's probably going to be, they're probably going to give him a little medication. Either they're going to boost him up a little bit or give him something to slow him down a little bit to try to keep his mouth from running at like a toilet, which ain't going to happen.
All right, let's remember something. That they're going to have a
stage.
certain time to answer questions, and they're not, and the person that's not answering the question, they're going to have their mic muted.
Right. And during the muted times, look, first of all, when he stepped up on stage and there's Kamala Harris, this black woman, and somebody already told him he's fighting for a black job, all that's going to be ringing in his head, bro. He already got problems with black women. We know he got problems with black women, that the way he come out of his mouth, his arrogance, his attitude, his self-righteousness, right? He gonna be unhinged when he get there, bro.
Okay.
He gonna be unhinged from the word, yeah, okay, Mr. Trump, let's go to the debate. He gonna be unhinged 2 hours before that.
Yes,
and
indeed.
I expect that he gonna be unhinged somewhere in that.
Yep. We're gonna see.
I expect that we're gonna hear the fact that she just turned black. I expect to hear that from him.
Yeah.
Because what I do expect is he gonna rally over all his talking points to his people.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be a debate. He's going to have a Trump speech for a Trump rally, all right? I tell you what, if he decides he's going to take a walk from his podium and go walk around that sister, he's going to find out that she's not Hillary.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be allowing that, though. We'll see. All right, George, let me take these calls, man. I got folks hanging
All
on.
right, bro, hold on before I go, because you know I got to say this, bro. I'm not listening to WBOK on my cell phone, on my computer next door at my neighbor house. If I'm not listening to Gerard G. Man Stephen, Reality Check with Jazz on the backboard, I'm really going to miss out on some black facts I need to know. Love y'all, man. Keep doing what you do. Lay them breadcrumbs down.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Help us, Jesus. Take the wheel. Just take the wheel. All right, Mr. Bill, what you say?
Good afternoon.
How you doing, my friend?
In the Midlands. George is right about Trump with his money problems. 6 bankruptcy situations and what have you. And as far as him telling the lies about whatever, he told one of his high-ranking female assistants when he was in office, he keeps saying it. Sooner or later, people will believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of his things. As far as the out in the community, as far as a barber shop or a beauty shop, I say let's do ladies first. Beauty shop.
You want to go to the beauty shop? Why I knew you was gonna say that.
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm just being honest.
There's so many male callers proportionately, but I've been hearing more an influx of ladies and some good comments and thoughtful comments and intelligent comments.
Mm.
Very much, your lady.
But have you heard more women or have you heard more men say that they're not gonna vote for a woman?
There's supposed to be a Donald Trump campaign ad coming out saying black women for Trump. A sibling of mine works at an establishment. There's one black female, maybe in her 30s, is volunteers out loud profusely that she will be voting for Trump. And, well, my sister doesn't know enough about the situation to debate it with her, but she just tries to stay away from her. But I heard the rumor that there may be a Trump ad coming out, black women for Trump. So I know there are. How many? I think it'd be very few. Even like Trump was saying that they can't find anybody who knew of Vice President Harris working at Mickey D's back in the day. I'm sure they were searching for someone from back then, and I'm sure they could have found someone who didn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
They would have slapped that all across the, everybody doesn't like everybody, And I'm pretty sure she was in management position as a youngster in that place, and folks automatically disagree with management. I got to go get my nails done. Well, I shouldn't say that about women, but anyway, that sort of thing. But,
so let's say we go into a beauty shop or a cosmetologist place of business.
Yes.
And we're there and we have these conversations. What would you say would be the outcome more so than anything else when these groups of women are voicing their opinions? What do you think?
I'm very interested in hearing the way the majority would lean. Very interested.
Man, I haven't thought about it in the capacity of, I've gotten the majority of women more so than I did with young folks, because I already know what the young folks were going to say. I think it was up to them to say, hey, these are the things that we want. But one of the young ladies did bring up the fact that, hey, you need to go into places where regular Joe Blows go. I'll never forget she said that. And she was like, it's fine you come over here and you talk to more educated college folks. It's fine that you do that. But what about that dude that ain't coming to college? What about that young lady that ain't going to go to college? That's just a regular Joe Blow person on the street. Have you talked to them yet? I said, no, this is the start. And she said, and I said, and by the way, if we do it, would you come? And she said, yeah, you know it.
Yeah. I would say if you get 10 females in discussion, at least 8 of them will be in favor of Vice President Harris.
You think so?
Mainly, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 8, maybe even 9. Mainly because of the abortion prank that he pulled, that he's trying to squirm out of.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was very interesting this weekend. I don't know if you saw this weekend, but I got to share this with you, because if I don't share it with you, I'm probably forget. Was the fact that, well, just previously he stated that he was not in favor of what is that? 2025. He was not in favor of that policy, that book, that 920 some page book. He wasn't in favor of it.
922.
Project
The individuals
2025.
that have been putting this together.
But he quoted something this weekend. I was like, well, if you ain't in favor of it, then why are you quoting policies out of it? Because he said, when he gets to be the president, he's going to disrupt and get rid of the education process. And I was like, wait a minute, isn't that one of the sections of Project 2025 when they were like, we need to get rid of the education board, all that needs to be gone? And he said it this weekend. I was like, so you have been reading it. You're going by the playbook.
With him saying something over and over and over, like he told a young lady in his cabinet, he keeps saying it there. Sooner or later, just believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. The individuals that put this 2020 Project 2025 together, they will be running the show. They've been working on this stuff for years.
Well, since 1973.
They didn't put that together in the 4 years since Biden's been
No.
on this.
No, this
Trump
has been
would only
together
end
since
up
1973.
being a puppet. He would only end up being a puppet for the Heritage Foundation.
Right.
And to keep his support, he's going to go along with everything that's in the book.
Mm-hmm.
He's even stated that he will be he will have folks arrested, from the $5 and $10 donors to Kamala Harris to the corporations and big shots, money people who donated to her.
Yeah.
That line he threw out there to scare them. If he does get in office and if establishment X has donated, no telling what he would be able to do to destroy the company. Just by mean-mouthing them.
Yeah.
It's
Man, and this weekend with a lot of his campaign stuff, he was talking about, all of my foes and all those folks that are against me, also the folks that are putting together these debates and a lot of the judges and stuff that don't believe in me.
Exactly.
I'm going to figure out how we can detain you and put you in jail.
Exactly.
I was like, what?
He's trying to scare the hell out of everybody who's not on his side.
If you ain't a Trumper, he's going to make sure that he can come get you.
What do you think about Dick Cheney coming out saying he's going to vote for Kamala Harris?
I think that Dick Cheney ain't crazy. I think that Dick Cheney figured out, like, you know what? And he made the statement. He said, listen, we gave you free reign and power one time before, and you could never be trusted with it again.
Exactly.
And I think he's right.
I think he's right as well. But there was a poll that came out this morning that they're a little tighter than what we were last week. Seemingly.
Yeah. And I really don't think that endorsement that came from JFK, I don't think that was a big bump for Trump. I really don't.
Not at all. Not at all. The folks who were going to vote for him didn't care for Biden, not Trump.
Right. Nope.
So why would they just decide, okay, I'm gonna vote for Trump? I can't imagine that at all.
But if I was Kamala Harris's folks, I'd be getting Cheney, his daughter, a couple of other Republican senators that have also endorsed her to go to those Republican areas, those moderate Republican areas, and get them and convince them that they need to do the same.
At least give them the information.
Right.
And do what the hell they figure it out. Donald Trump's nephew, who said didn't want to come up and assist his nephew with his son's
and stole his inheritance.
Situation. Say again?
And stole his inheritance.
Yeah. Told the guy, well, he doesn't even know you, so just let him die.
Let him die.
The floor.
Right.
Yeah, that's cold, man.
Yeah.
He's also said he would assist if the Harris campaign called him.
Yep.
And then I see like 8 members of
I said
JFK,
Joe is telling us
who were voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's going to be interesting tomorrow, though. It's going to be interesting tomorrow to see what happens.
See what kind of questions the moderator's asking. Well, Mr. Trump, you said you would do this and that, all this arresting people, throwing people in jail. If there's going to be a question like that, which would be a valid question, although his people will look, see, they're going after him again. Somehow if Kamala Harris could bring it up.
I hope that Kamala Harris will end up doing her own thing and not trying to fact check him, trying to fact check him on what's lies and what's not, and can give her own. This is what we're going to do on this side of the street instead of what they're going to do.
She can't do the whole debate, fact checking him and calling him a lie. No.
Then you're going to end up, telling everybody what he was lying about instead of being able to tell people what you're going to do.
Yeah. What you have in mind.
All right.
Exactly.
So
I'm going to record it tomorrow and then run it back.
Oh, we're going to talk about it tomorrow too. So.
Well, Wednesday, not tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it Wednesday. So we'll see. All right, Mr. Bill.
The beauty salons before the ball.
Yeah, we're going to look for a couple of them and see what we can do.
That'd be my suggestion.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Later.
Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. One of the things, too, that I got to bring up, I was really, and I still haven't really found out the entire process, but I know everybody was happy yesterday that it was Football Sunday. Football Sunday. Woo, woo. And then all of a sudden you see this video that appeared of Tyreek Hill, who plays for the Miami Dolphins, being laid out on the ground out of his $200,000-$300,000 vehicle, because that looked like a Lamborghini. I'm not certain that's what it was, but that's what it looked like. As he was laid down on the ground with his hands behind his back, with one of the police officers with his knee in his back area, lower back, as they're putting his hands behind his back and putting him under arrest for a traffic stop. The news is Tyreek Hill's agent called the Miami Dolphins star's detention on Sunday as they were getting ready for their season opener heartbreaking, upsetting, and uncalled for. In an interview with CNN on Monday, as the local police union began to defend the officers involved in the incident. Speaking to CNN's Sarah Sidner, Drew Rosenhaus, that's Rosenhaus, I said Rosenhaus, but it's Rosenhaus, said that he was in disbelief about what took place after he was pulled over for a moving violation. Tyreek was just trying to get to work, trying to play a game and trying to do his job, Rosenhaus said on CNN. For police officers to detain him, put him on the ground like that, to put his knee on him and hit him, it was devastating. Several videos of social media showed Hill being handcuffed and on the ground for 4 officers surrounding him before the team's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Dolphins said on social media that Hill had been briefly detained by police after a traffic incident 1 block away from the Miami's Hard Rock Stadium and was released shortly afterwards. It's still unclear exactly what led to Hill being detained by police, and the Miami-Dade Police Department declined to provide further details about the incident to CNN, citing an ongoing investigation. MDPD Director Stephanie Daniels said on Sunday that an investigation has begun into the incident and that one of the officers involved in being placed on administrative duties. MDPD police confirmed that a second Dolphins player, Kalis Campbell, was also handcuffed when trying to discuss the situation with police officers at the scene. And on Monday, the South Florida Police Benevolent Association defended the actions of the officers involved, highlighting that Hill was never placed under arrest. Wait a minute. They got him out the car, laid him on the ground, put him in handcuffs, and they said that he was never placed under arrest. Upon being stopped, Mr. Hill was not immediately cooperative with the officers on scene, who pursuantly to policy and to their immediate safety, placed Mr. Hill in handcuffs. Stedman Stahl, the organization's president, said in a statement to CNN. Mr. Hill, still uncooperative, refused to sit on the ground and was therefore redirected to the ground. Once the situation was sorted out with a few minutes, Mr. Hill was issued 2 traffic citations and was then free to leave. Wait a minute. You dragged me out my car, laid me out on the ground, laid me on the ground, put me in handcuffs, gave me 2 traffic citations, and then you let me go. In this case, while he will wait for the investigation to run its course, based on what he knows, we stand with the actions of the officers, but look forward to further open communication moving forward, said Stahl. Hill scored an 80-yard touchdown in Miami's 20-17 victory against the Jaguars, celebrating but putting his arms behind his back with his wrists together, perhaps alluding to being in handcuffs earlier Sunday. But I guess my question would be, now this might sound racial to you, but I think it's a good question. If that was an older white guy that was driving a $200,000-$300,000 vehicle that disagreed, you have the right to disagree. Would they have taken him out of that car and laid him on the ground and put him in handcuffs? I know that's going to come up today during the conversation piece with our friends on the Sports Report. Make sure you check it out. All right, we got to take a break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We'll have some more conversation with you in just a few minutes, y'all. We got to pay some bills, and we'll come back with more conversation next, right here on WBOK.
Find us online. Did you know that you can now listen to your favorite show whenever you want? How? Just go to www.wbok1230.com. Click on the Talk tab and select your favorite show. There you'll see your favorite host and the show from each day. And be sure to follow us on Facebook at WBOK1230AM, Instagram at WBOK.1230, and TikTok at WBOK1230AM.
It's off the top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
You know, there are some people who just light up your heart with a feeling of grace, peace, and comfort when you're in their presence. Mrs. Sybil Heidel Morial was such a person. With her recent passing, I am reminded of just how much she meant to the nation, the state, and her beloved city of New Orleans. Her quiet grace and eloquence belied her fierce resolve to wage a relentless battle in the fight for civil rights and human justice. It is well documented that she became the first African-American First Lady upon the election of her husband Dutch as the first African-American mayor of the Crescent City. But Sybil was a warrior in her own right. She fought alongside her husband as they together battled against the scions of bigotry and racial hatred. She would chronicle the death threats that she and Dutch received when he was president of the New Orleans NAACP in her memoir, Witness to Change, From Jim Crow to Political Empowerment. When denied a membership in the League of Women Voters because she was African American, Mrs. Morial formed an organization to help blacks vote. She was among the first to test the anti-integration policy against blacks attempting to enroll at both Tulane and Loyola universities. Neither accepted her as a student at the time because she was African American. A lifelong educator with 2 degrees from Boston University, she successfully challenged the statute prohibiting public school teachers from being involved in any organization advocating civil rights. Inasmuch as she and Dutch were champions of the civil rights movement, Sybil was also a guiding force for family, helping Dutch raise 5 children, including Mark Morial, who would follow in his father's footsteps, also becoming mayor of New Orleans, and a daughter, Monique Morial, who is an Orleans Parish judge and was recently elected to the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals without opposition. I shall miss Mrs. Morial, seeing her face, hearing her voice, forever reminding me of the power of grace, elegance, eloquence, dignity, and quiet resolve in the face of challenge and duress. My sincere gratitude and heartfelt condolences to the Morial and Heidel families. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Welcome back to school, families and scholars. NOLA Public Schools is excited to kick off another exciting year of learning, growth, and success. Our dedicated teachers have been preparing all summer to provide an engaging and enriching experience for every student. Let's embrace new challenges, celebrate achievements, and make this school year the best one yet. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS by visiting our social media channels. Here's to a year filled with curiosity, creativity, and community. Attend today, achieve tomorrow.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
New Orleans, get ready for the Big Health Event, a free event presented by the Urban League of Louisiana. Come see how health and wellness can lead to life-changing results for you and your family. Don't miss the Big Health Event on September 14th, sponsored by Ochsner Health.
Lock it in! September 14th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Montreal Convention Center. Free for the whole family. For more details, visit urbanleague.org. Don't miss out.
Sunday mornings are reserved for a good word on WBOK. This Sunday, be sure to catch Dr. Kevin Stevens Sr., the pastor of Christian Unity Church, for service and a powerful, full, inspiring word. Listen live every Sunday morning right here on WBOK.
Tune in Friday, September 13th at 8 a.m. to hear Liberty Bank and Trust discuss customized banking solutions. Power your dream and fuel community growth. Live this Friday, September 13th at 8 a.m. on the Good Morning Show on WBOK 1230 a.m.
WBOK 1230 a.m. New Orleans, home of the Reality Check, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The U.S. Department of Justice's antitrust case against Google begins today. Prosecutors allege the Alphabet company's online ad technology inhibits smaller companies from competing. A Miami Dolphins star was detained by police ahead of their game against the Jacksonville Jaguars Sunday. Wideout African-American Tyreek Hill was handcuffed outside of the Hard Rock Stadium for a traffic violation. ESPN reported that the violation was reckless driving and that a verbal altercation with police happened. Rapper Kendrick Lamar will be the headliner for next year's Super Bowl 59 halftime show. The NFL announced its selection Sunday morning. The African-American rapper performed at Super Bowl 56 alongside Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, and other artists. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Celebrating hardworking teachers of New Orleans Public Schools is what we do best. Join New Schools for New Orleans, Allstate, Sugar Bowl, and Integer New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 3rd annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. If you want to check out the awardees in the schools where they teach at, please visit Noeta, Noeta.org. You can also purchase tickets to the gala via the website too. Let's send these teachers some love for all the hard work they do with our students.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. It is Monday, coming up in just a few minutes. I know a lot of folks might be having a little bit, more so than anything else, may be having some anxieties about this weather, since they have already announced that this turned to Invest, whatever that is called, to a tropical storm and may be headed to affect some of Louisiana, whether it's going to be on the Cone area near New Orleans or Lafayette, whichever one it is. To make sure that you understand what I'm talking about without me sitting here having to stutter through it, coming up in about 20 minutes, our weatherman, our meteorologist, is going to join us by phone, and give us all the details. Well, who you talking about? You know, we got a weatherman. You know, we got us a meteorologist that we can always depend on. And I saw a lot of folks on Facebook and all those different social medias looking for him. So call somebody, let them know that Damon Singleton is going to join us at 2:20 this afternoon to give us the latest update. Damon Singleton in about 18 minutes from now. All right. Jason, thanks for holding, buddy. How you doing? Jason?
How you doing, G?
Hey, bro. What's going on
brother?
with you? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing.
You just doing? That's it? Uh-oh. I guess he ain't doing. He ain't doing. Call me back, Jason. Something happened to the phone. I don't know what that was. So I'm getting a lot of folks that are calling and talking about Tyreek Hill. And again, I don't want to overstep the sports show. I know that they're probably talking about this too, and all the programs that happened, all the games that happened on yesterday. But did that bother you to see that this young man was headed to his job and he was just trying to get there? And they pulled him over for a traffic violation. They said it was a traffic violation. Now, this is what came from the police. I'm not making this part up. They said it was a traffic violation. So what kind of traffic violation is it that you got to pull me out of my vehicle and lay me down on the ground? Have you all seen the video? Jazz, I just sent you the video. Because there were some of the teammates and some of the folks that filmed it as well. So we do have the news story that came from CNN and some of the video. But it made me ask the question, how far did they go? And I guess the other question I had was, would this been something they would have done to, if I was another race, do you think that they would have pulled him out of the vehicle and laid him down on the ground, even if he disagreed with them? Even if he disagreed with them, or there was a verbal disagreement, do you think that they would have pulled a white man out of his $300,000-$400,000 vehicle and laid him down on the ground and put his hands behind his back and handcuff him for a traffic altercation? Then you give me 2 tickets and let me go? I was also taught, and somebody else can disagree with me on this, that if you put me in handcuffs, I'm under arrest. Detaining me is telling me that you're stopped or whatever. I don't know. But what could they have stopped him for? Because he disagreed with them on getting pulled over? I don't know. Nobody want to agree with anybody on a traffic ticket or being detained. Do you? Wouldn't you disagree? And his agent was like, I'm appalled. So let me sound a little biggity. Maybe even sound a little racial. And you might tell me that I'm wrong for saying this. You're talking about 3 police officers or 4 police officers. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. I think it's 4. You're talking about 4 police officers that are on a detail, motorcycle cops. In South Florida. And here comes this little young black guy that got on a white beater t-shirt full of tattoos, hair twisted up, driving a $300,000-$400,000 vehicle that's going to be mouthing off to you. Now, Tyreek Hill's his agent said, to Tyreek's credit, it was remarkable that he was able to compose himself. He was able to go and play the game, making a sensational play, an 80-yard touchdown to help them win the game. But when he did make the 80-yard touchdown, I guess his touchdown show was to put his hands behind his back while his teammate was getting ready to act like he was putting handcuffs on. Anybody else see that? But in quotes here it says, what happened before the game was disgraceful, unacceptable, and cannot happen in this society. Who would have thought after George Floyd that they would have still see people treated like this unfairly and unnecessarily? Now, this is why I said I might sound a little racial. Tyreek Hill's agent is a white guy. Dude, this happened to your client, but this happens in the black community every day. Why are you appalled? Because it happened to your client or because it happens in our community every day? Which one? I think you need to choose. And I'm not saying that in the sense of I'm mad at him. I'm like, dude, you sounding a little bit out of touch, like you really don't know. They just treated him like he was, no matter, like, they didn't care how much money he got or who he played for or what team that he belonged to. They treated him like what he was. And I'm just being for real. What you say, Brian?
Hey there, how you doing?
Good, my friend.
Question. Was he speeding or was he speeding?
Probably
on
was.
The red light? Or?
They just said that he had a traffic violation. They pulled him over and they were going to give him a traffic violation, a ticket for traffic violation. So
right, just say, let's just say that he was speeding.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, if he's speeding, I understand what you're saying. I get it. But if he's speeding, just because he's speeding and he's just trying to get to work and he's trying to do his job, there are many times that I've been, I would think about speeding because I'm trying to get to my job. I respect the fact that I'm not going to speed. So don't give him no pass just because if he was speeding,
give him a ticket.
And he's just trying to get to his job.
Give
give him a reason to, if that he was. It sounds as if, just because he's Tyreek Hill, just because he's Tyreek Hill, they probably didn't recognize who he was. And if they did, they probably wouldn't have treated him the way they did. And I'm not saying that it was wrong. I'm not saying that it was right the way that he was treated. But the fact that he was speeding, he didn't comply when they asked him to, that's one of the things we always say in our community to, young black men that's not of that status of his, that they should comply with what the police are telling them to do. So maybe he did, they probably asked him to get out and they snatched him out. Was it right? If he didn't comply with them, what else do you think they would have done?
So let's say I was speeding. Let's say it was me and you and let's take the famous guy out of this. Let's say it's me and you.
Okay.
And you and I are driving and we're speeding and you get pulled over, I get pulled over, and they try to tell you what you did. Tell me what I did. And the only other conversation that needs to be coming out of there is license, registration, and your driver's license. License, registration, insurance, right? Go back to your vehicle, run all the stuff that you need to run, write me a ticket, and let's roll. why you got me on the ground with my hands behind my back in handcuffs, laying face down on the ground? What do I need to get out of my vehicle for? If I was speeding, I don't need to get out of my vehicle. All you need to get is my license, my registration, and my proof of insurance. That's it.
You're absolutely right. Now, in between that, we don't know what was said.
That's what I'm telling you. I don't know, and whatever it is, it sounds like to me that these cops should have had thick skin, but they were trying to cheat. It looked like. Now I'm just saying I don't know. I was not there, so let me kind of phrase it this way. I wasn't there, but it looked like to me they were trying to teach him a lesson.
Hey, and if they were trying to teach him a lesson, it's not so much teaching him a lesson, because the lesson is not so much, well, it is for him, but it's for others as well. And the same lesson that was given to others that had to, be used as an example. If the police pull you over, again, we don't know what was said in between all of that. If they pull you over, regardless of who you are, if you're speeding, comply. If they say get out, get out. Now, if they would have, I'm not getting out. I could just imagine him probably telling them, I'm not getting out. And they probably snatched him out of the vehicle. Was it right? No. But if they did,
mm-hmm.
It was because he didn't comply.
But get out for
and
what?
I understand. Out the vehicle.
But get out for what? It's a moving violation.
Well,
it's a
they're
traffic
asking you to get out. Well, first of all, if you're speeding and you're going over a certain miles per hour, they're going to take you to jail. So they could have probably taken him to jail if you were speeding over whatever the speed limit is. If you're going over whatever the speed limit is, and they pull you over, they're going to take you to jail.
No, I haven't heard that one. I think I have
yes,
never heard that one before.
If you're doing 150, just say if the speed limit is 50, and you're doing 90 or 100, you don't think they're gonna just give you a ticket? Come on, Gerard, they're gonna take you to jail. Everybody, that's known.
So it's an area where they're right at the stadium, so we know that ain't happening, right? Because other folks are also in that traffic line. If he's speeding, okay, write me the ticket. Because evidently that's what it was anyway, because all they did was write him a citation and then take the handcuffs off of him and let him go. If he's speeding and he's doing like 100, 150, like you said he was doing, and they wanted to take him to jail, why didn't they?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's giving him a pass. If that was the case, what if he was on the interstate?
So which one you going to stick with now, Jason? I got to ask you, which one you going to stick with? I mean, Brian, because you're saying that, they didn't give him a pass because he didn't comply. Are they going to give him a pass, or are they not going to give him a pass? Which one?
No, I never said they didn't give him a pass. They gave him a pass because if they wanted to arrest him, they could have arrested him.
You don't know that?
They gave him. If you go right up St. Charles Avenue doing 90 miles. Oh, I'm just saying St. Charles. Go right up somewhere where there's a speed limit.
So what I'm trying to tell you though is all these different scenarios that we're getting to, you're making this up too. Because we don't know.
Exactly.
But my question has, and will be, again, whatever it was, if it was so bad, whether it was speeding, whether he was doing 100 miles an hour or not, if he was doing that, why didn't they arrest him? They laid him out on the ground, put handcuffs on him, and then they let him go.
Okay, I'm going to just throw, I know you said no more scenarios. I'm going to just throw this one. What if they clocked him on the interstate and followed him or tried to? We don't know any of that stuff.
Nope, we don't. But I think that if they did, they would have said it by now.
Well, maybe they're trying to build a case before they do it.
It don't look good. It look good to you?
Well, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. None of it looks good. Mm-hmm. The fact that he was laying out on the ground didn't look good. But I'm just saying how we seem to, and I get it. I understand where you're going with it when you initially started the show. I get it. But if the police pull you for whatever reason, just comply with them. I don't think they just snatched him out of the car just to snatch him, and not to say, that they don't have police officers out there that are like that. But the conversation probably didn't go right between them for whatever, and they probably snatched him out.
So let me ask you this.
And that's just,
let me ask you this. So you got in a scenario, so do I. My scenario would be, if this was an older white guy that was driving this $400,000 vehicle, do you think they would have treated him the same way, even if he didn't comply or agree with them?
Probably would not have treated him that way, but I don't think they probably would have treated him that way. But if it was an older white guy, and I hate to say this, and I'm probably black as you are, and my blood is red, but if it was an older white guy, that probably would have done just what the hell they asked him to do.
No, I disagree with that one. I disagree with that one. I think that the tolerance level.
I totally agree. I mean,
I think the tolerance level for a white guy, a white person, compared to a black guy that is wearing a white beater and got tattoos all over himself, and you're looking at somebody driving a vehicle that all four of those police officers together, their salaries don't add up to what the cost of that car is. Yeah, I think there's a little jealousy and envy on who he is or whatever they thinking that he is, and they wanted to show him. That's all.
Well, again, it could possibly well been, and I agree with what you're saying. It could possibly been that. Yeah. But my thing is, for the average Joe Blow, you and me and my son, who have out since he was younger, and I told him when he was driving at 16 years old, don't draw the attention to yourself because you're going to be stereotyped by it. If you know that these white folks are going to pull you, black or white, if you know they're going to pull you over because you got the white beater on, the music blasting, and all of that, you drawing that attention to yourself. You should be able to drive however you want to drive. Mm-hmm. You should wear whatever you want to wear. Yeah. My point is, you know that stereotype is already flagging in your face. Don't draw that attention to you.
Yeah.
Don't draw the attention to you.
Cool. All right, Brian. Thank you, buddy.
All right, brother.
All right.
Later.
What?
I'm not saying that I don't understand what Brian was saying, but, and don't take this the wrong way, because I mean no disrespect, but that mind frame is part of the problem in the first place.
What? Say it again.
That mind frame is part of the problem in the first place.
What's the mind frame?
The mind frame that it's always our fault for doing something. That's why the police do it. You're taking away the fact that most of those situations are just because of the people who are involved. I understand that there's a proper way to behave, right, when being arrested or being confronted by law officers, right? But I also know and have seen multiple times where the so-called suspect is following the orders, like down in Baton Rouge, right? And the person still winds up dead. This happens too many times for us to still be talking about if you would have acted different, it would have ended up different. Because that is absolutely a whole bunch of cow dung.
Well, cow dung it is. All right, y'all. Coming up, we'll talk to our meteorologist to get you safely in a place that you need to be so that you won't be worried so much about the invest that has now turned into a tropical storm. Our meteorologist is going to join us by phone and give us some details on what he's thinking here and give us some insight. Who is that meteorologist? The one, the only, Damon Singleton. And join us in just a minute, y'all. Let's take a break here and we'll come back. More next.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tony Flowers, Chief Diversity and Social Responsibility Officer at LCMC Health, and I want to bring you 5 tips to know for a great medical appointment. Number 1, know your questions. Make a short list of your most important questions and bring that with you to your appointment. Number 2, know what's being said. Ask your provider to speak in plain language, not those big long terms. Number 3, know the wellness plan. Ask your provider to explain the plan for your care in 3 simple steps. Number 4, know why the plan is important. Ask your provider to explain what will happen if you forget to follow the plan. And number 5, know your medications. Ask these questions to understand your medication. Why am I taking this? How will it help my condition? What time should I take it? What will happen if I miss a dose? We want you to build a great partnership with your providers and be in the know about your health. This is brought to you through a partnership of LCMC Health and the New Orleans Health Department. Be in the know.
Boost your savings with a CD from Home Bank. For a limited time, Home Bank is offering 5.05% annual percentage yield on a 5-month CD. If you want a longer term, take advantage of the 4.50% APY on a 9-month CD. The minimum balance for this special is just $2,500. So speak with a banker at any Home Bank location today. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Delgado Community College offers programs in business, technology, health sciences, and the arts with over 100 career-focused degrees and certificates that are affordable, flexible, and transferable. We can give you the knowledge and skills to succeed. Delgado is a great fit if you're starting your post-high school education, or we can help you advance or change your career. Take a step toward being unstoppable at Delgado Community College. Visit dcc.edu to learn more today.
Greetings, WBOK family. This is Jason Clark, host of United Way and You. Be sure to tune in next Thursday at 12 p.m. when we'll be speaking with Melanie Richardson, co-founder and executive director of Training Grounds, a United Way funded partner. The topic will be the We Play, We Connect Family Resource Hub. Please tune in if you're able. Until then, we only have one life to live, so live united.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Monday afternoon, and of course, she is in the building, y'all. The doctor has come on.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm trying to hang in here, trying to make sure that everybody be safe, trying to make sure that we discuss all the stuff that's going on, and trying to make sure that we have some insight on several different things. Got to talk about last week.
Mm-hmm.
Big ups to you.
Big ups to you.
Big ups to you.
Big ups to us.
Us.
Yes.
Because we had a great turnout. The turnout was standing room only up in there.
Yes.
I loved it.
I did too.
And then the folks that were on the panel, I was just standing back, letting you do your thing, of course. And I looked and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
These some powerful folks.
Yes.
Powerful folks. What did you think?
First of all, I thought that things went really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we had even more attendance, that we could see it grow over time. And I mean, I got a lot of people telling me afterward how great it was, how much they want to sustain the conversation and even grow it even bigger. And so I love that. And I love that it just came from us initially having a question about what would students think, right? And it's grown from there and gotten us a chance to be able to impact how students see civic participation and open up this dialogue, which we can tell now that there's been a lot of generational gaps between us and the young people, and even gaps of information, things that they don't know. And so it feels good to help to fill those gaps with good information.
One of the things too that, and we're going to get back to that in just a minute, but I got to go to this, and I saw this all over social media. Everybody is asking questions about where we are going to be with this invest turn tropical storm, and what does that mean? And everybody's looking for this gentleman here on the phone with us.
I mean, if only we had a great qualified meteorologist to explain it to us.
Oh,
wow.
I wonder who that could be.
Wow, man, it's been a while.
Yes, indeed. Damon Singleton on the phone. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I hope you guys are too.
I know your phone got to be blowing up with everybody asking what the hell is going on with the weather, Damon, what's going on, because I saw your post and I was like, good Lord, just look at the number of folks that have gone to the post when you put the map up.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty amazed by it too. It's heartwarming, that's for sure. You know, my wife was just asking me about the weather too, 'cause she's got some traveling to do over the next couple of days.
Yes, indeed. She's smart. she's smart. So are we in some type of trouble here? Because I'm like, okay, I keep hearing Category 1. Maybe we're going to be on the other side of it. What's going on, Dane?
So, a few days ago, when you're looking at the track of this storm, it was more towards Lake Charles than where it is now. So it's been inching closer and closer to southeast Louisiana, so much so that we're in the cone. So we are going to feel some hurricane effects, especially on Wednesday night. It looks like it's the last thing I saw from the Hurricane Center was indicating kind of a Category 1 hurricane. I personally think it's going to be a little bit stronger than that, but that's what the forecast is for right now. And it looks like the track hasn't changed much between the update from this morning and this afternoon. That doesn't mean it won't change. It just means it hasn't changed much in that time frame. So if the track moves closer to southeast Louisiana, the closer it moves towards us, the worse the weather's going to be for us. So I think for the most part, folks are going to probably start noticing some stronger winds late tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then it's supposed to kind of make landfall probably just west of Terrebonne Parish on Wednesday evening. And what it looks like at that time, is still a little bit uncertain. But we're going to feel some pretty good winds that time. There's going to be a significant amount of storm surge as well, especially if you're down towards Terrebonne Parish or, Grand Isle or Port Fourchon, those areas especially, up to 8 feet, maybe up to 10 feet of storm surge, a possibility down there. And then the rainfall amounts are going to be like 4 to 6 inches with probably, like 10 to 12 inches in some isolated areas. So a lot of rain, a lot of storm surge, and the wind, and of course wind damage as well. But right now, from a Category 1 system. So that's the good news. The bad news is there's a hurricane. That we are in the cone.
So one of the things too that I was a little confused of, because it seemed that a lot of folks were saying to me, maybe a Category 1, and then you hear them like sigh and go, oh, shouldn't they be looking at this as really dangerous as well?
Well, I think we should look at any hurricane as potentially very dangerous. Especially since we've seen all the power outages and flooding events without any hurricane activity in our area. So imagine what's possible with a hurricane making landfall close to us. So yes, the potential for some significant impacts is pretty significant, even with the Category 1 or tropical storm. And we've had instances when the storms have driven up to the coastline and sat there spinning for hours, just dropping a whole bunch of rain over the entire area. Doesn't look like that's going to happen with this storm, but it's still a pretty significant system.
I guess more so than what I'm thinking too is, and no disrespect to any part of the state like Terrebonne Parish or anything like that may receive a rain event, but I'm thinking too, if we're on the good side or the bad side of this hurricane, if we're expected to get maybe an inch or two, I'm just worried about the system here and getting that water out and reaching out. So is there potential for us to be flooded?
Yes.
All righty then.
Time to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming.
We're on the worst side of the storm, and if the track moves closer towards us, that increases the rain, that increases the winds, that increases the potential for tornadic activity, especially if the right front quadrant of the storm moves over southeast Louisiana, which is likely to happen if that track moves further to the east.
And if that happens, how soon? What is that? A degree move, or is that because this was an invest 24 hours ago, And I
Yeah.
think that was you that explained to me probably a year or two ago what an invest was, because I had never heard of it. And now we're talking tropical storm. What's the difference?
Well, it's got right now it's got 60-mile-per-hour winds. So you need 74-mile-per-hour winds to be a Category 1 hurricane.
Uh-huh.
And it was they first called it a potential tropical storm, just so people could be alert that there's real potential for a tropical storm developing and headed in our direction, which is something the National Hurricane Center started doing about 2 or 3 years ago. So the difference is that the potential for it becoming a tropical storm with tropical storm force winds, 37 or greater miles per hour, was real with this particular invest area, and now it's predicted to be a Category 1 hurricane before it makes landfall.
Right. So with that being said, I'm glad you said it. How many hours was that it was categorized as a invest to when it was categorized as a tropical storm or hurricane? That looked like it was pretty rapid.
Yeah, it was. Now I don't know exactly how many hours it was, but I agree with you that it was pretty rapid, and they probably could have started calling it a potential tropical cyclone before they did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good that they did, when they did, to kind of give everybody a heads up and kind of get people moving and watching for what's happening with the weather and the track and everything else.
Right. As the meteorologist that has had over 18 years of this type of weather forecasting and making people understand what it is, what do you recommend to folks that are paying attention right now? We don't have all that rain, maybe some cloudy and gloomy skies, but that's going to change pretty quick.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to get worse tomorrow. Probably a lot more rainfall, and the winds, I think you're going to notice that they're going to be picking up. And then, and of course, the worst of it for Wednesday evening. Looks like, some places have already started making some moves. Like I think Grand Isle issued a voluntary evacuation order already. Some parts of Terrebonne Parish kind of started canceling some schools for Wednesday as well. One of the things I sent out on my social media was you should probably expect some school cancellations, especially on Wednesday, possibly even on Thursday, for us. But as far as evacuating or anything like that, I don't see any real need for that right now, unless, of course, you're down towards Grand Isle, Port Fourchon, or lower parts of Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah, because folks on social media right now asking the question. I think Jacqueline Wilmore said, "Should we leave?"
Where's Jacqueline?
I think she's in New Orleans. Jacqueline, you can hear her, so she'll probably answer me in the next couple of minutes here. But she just put that on social media, asking the question, "Should we leave?" I guess she is in New Orleans.
Yeah. So again, I don't make the call on when to evacuate. And I think I was on the radio with you guys for Ida when you kind of asked me the same question.
Yeah, she's in Gentilly.
You guys were like, yeah, you guys asked me, well, Damon, what are you going to do? And I told you, well, I'm going to pick up my kids and take them to the airport this afternoon.
Yes, indeed.
Right. We doing what you do.
Yeah. I see you at the airport then.
If I see the meteorologist leaving, hold on.
You see the meteorologist on the plane and be like, hey, hold up, wait a minute.
My wife's friends were calling her up and saying, what Damon's saying? And she was saying, girl, Damon just put our kids on a plane to Houston.
Yes,
so say less. But I don't see an Ida with this particular system. And like I said, I think it's going to end up being stronger than what's being predicted right now. But if you have been able to deal with some of the power outages and the flooding events that we've been experiencing in the last couple of months, then you should be in pretty good shape. The biggest difference is going to be the very strong sustained winds that we're going to be dealing with for a while, especially if you're along the coastline and being affected by the potential for storm surge.
So we can expect power outages and that type of weather behavior. I guess that's what we should be expecting. Some power outages, strong winds, maybe some
flooding events.
heavy winds and the rain.
Yes.
No ifs, ands, and buts about it. So if they can't stand that, then maybe they should leave. And I'm just saying that in this sense, because I got another question that said, well, we're in the Lower Ninth Ward.
Huh.
So.
Yeah. Ooh, wow. Yeah. So, if you, if you're in, anybody who's in like a mobile home or something like that should really be thinking about being somewhere else. Especially with the tornado threat, if that thing gets any further or any closer, or is expected to get any closer to us than it is right now. Otherwise, if you've been here for some of the weather that we've been dealing with, then you're probably going to be okay. Although the wind is going to be a factor, especially since it's going to be strong and sustained for a good 12, about 8 to 12 hours, I guess, as the storm moves onshore and through our area.
Okay, all right, good enough. My favorite meteorologist.
Yes.
I think that everybody online, because I want to make sure that we say this too, because you have your own social media, and I know everybody wants to be able to call you up and say, hey, look, or dial you up and ask what the questions are. How do they get on your social media?
Yeah, man, I'm kind of revamping a lot of stuff right now. And so I'm 6WX Man is still what it's called right now on Twitter, and then I'm Damon Weatherman on Instagram. Or you can just type in Damon Singleton, and you'll probably see me pop right up on either one of those, or on Facebook.
And I'm gonna have to break out my camera and put you on a green screen. You're gonna have to just tell me about whatever program we need to get you, so you can start doing that, because we already got everything else except for that program. So put it right up there.
Yeah, man, I'm doing some stuff, and I'm probably gonna let you guys know what the final decision here is in the next few weeks.
Very good, very good.
But bro, I gotta once again thank you and all your listeners for the community response to my departure from WDSU has been more than I could ever have imagined. And some of the folks over there at DSU are telling me that the phone calls are still coming in, and lots of emails and all kinds of stuff. Man, I thank you. I thank all your listeners, and I'm just grateful.
That's what we're supposed to do. You are a hero in our community, so that's what we're supposed to do. Hey, let's keep up. Let's make sure that we keep everybody safe, and I appreciate it. This is an open microphone whenever you want it. So,
got it.
Anytime. Damon, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you much.
All right, man.
All right,
talk to you later.
Soon. All right, meteorologist Damon Singleton with us. Mr. Harrell, what you say?
Hello?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. See, I told you have everything, or we have everything. This is my first time listening to your meteorologist. And, I'm in Los Angeles where the good people live. And I usually call you late. First of all, Dr. Shepard, she's on my favorite colored people's list for life.
Well, thank you.
Lord have mercy. That's all I can say. That's Lord have mercy. You on his favorite colored people list.
Colored people.
Anyway, everybody has a story, and I have 500 stories. And I was listening to you talking about the young fella that the police laid down on the pavement. Have you ever heard of Beverly Hills, California?
Nah, Where's that?
Well, I'm about 12 miles from there. Okay. And what I wanted to relate, and, maybe not in order, but there's a talk show host here that's been on for over 30 years. He's a Jewish attorney. And he said a few weeks ago, it must be something to driving while black. And he said that the radio station manager was a black fella, and he wears $2,000 suits, and the car that he drives. And this black fella said every time he drives through Beverly Hills, he stops. So the Jewish attorney said it must be something to that, because I have never been stopped in Beverly Hills.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is you have to, like I've said to you before, everything is race and politics. The creep that is going to be on the television tomorrow night, I told you I was at, when he got his star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, my son and I were there. Okay. The lowest, the biggest kind of garbage that exists, and he has such a following. See, 10 people should be at his rallies. So I wanted to say again, I have a nephew that is an investment banker. His house payment is $10,000 a month. And he was driving, and he came up to a stop sign. So this policeman pulled him over and told him, I know you don't live in this neighborhood. So, and this is California, where the good people live. So my my nephew said to him, I know you don't live in this neighborhood. There's my house right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
So they, go ahead and give him the ticket and whatnot and all of that kind of thing. So anyway, my nephew got the ticket, said, I'll see you in court. He never showed up in court. But he was one of these poor ones that are all over the place, that they're just racist. That's all. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is under the consent decree or whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. Now the other day, a sheriff brutalized a black woman. He threw her to the ground, hit her in the face. Now he's going to spend some time, and he's going to be sued. See, now like I told you, I will sue you if you look at me wrong. See, so what I'm saying is, and I heard the caller call trying to kind of justify the police and that kind of thing. You don't justify that kind of crap. So I could tell you more stories about. And when I thought I was going to do some business in New Orleans and whatnot, the first thing I wanted to do is have my bonding company place me a $1 million bond, because I don't go for that kind of crap. Mm. And I told you years ago, my father came home from World War II, and I'm originally from Kansas City. And he was driving, and he was the kind that felt that, the laws are for certain people, not him. And he was a good man. So these so-called white policemen pulled him over, and he didn't have a driver's license. So they took him downtown to the police headquarters. And when they the police department, when they saw them bringing him in, and they called his last name, and so they told him to take him right back where they stopped him. Now my father was had political connection. He knew the governor. He knew all of that, and he was not supposed to be, felt with. And if you know anything about Chicago politics and Kansas City politics, I could spend your whole program telling you about it. But what I'm saying to you, you have this kind of crap on the police department. Now, my oldest daughter is in internal investigation, LAPD.
Okay.
So, yeah. So anyway, you don't take this kind of stuff. You sue their pants off of them. It's total disrespect. And you can't say anything, but you just have to know who you are.
Okay.
Now, on that program you had with the young people the other day, I got in on a part of it, but you got a lot of work to do because they are totally confused.
All right.
And a lot of them have no idea who they are and what has come before them.
Okay.
So
all right,
anyway,
Mr. Harold. I got all these folks holding on, so let me get to them.
Get to them. You okay? Dr. Shepard is okay. So we'll get together one day.
All right. We'll talk to you later. All right.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Hey, I just want to say I don't even know what y'all talking about. I just caught this young man's conversation just now, and it's coming back to everything I always say every time I call. It's the exact same thing in some form or fashion. But basically, look, we keep dealing with these one-offs. Okay, look,
Kevin, you don't know what
Katrina,
we're talking about? You have no idea what we're talking about?
Beyond what I heard that young man addressing about with discrimination and how it affects the wealthy as well as the poor, as it relates to black people. So, basically, whatever the conversation we have is my conversation is gonna always be the exact same thing. Deal with the root causes of all this stuff. The bottom line is this: until it doesn't matter if you have money or not, if you black, and this has been going on for 400 plus years, man. We're supposed to know this by now. Look, the dumbest, what Katrina taught me, having to move around the country a little bit, what I realized that the dumbest, lowest class white person knows the protocol. They know exactly that they're supposed to be race soldiers, period. And it goes from the bottom to the top. Okay? That's how, and the sad part is, it's hurting them. It's hurting the country, consequently, it's hurting them. Because as long as we keep people on our team, because black folks ain't going nowhere, they're going to be here. Okay? So as long as we keep people on our team America, under adverse conditions, that means our teammates aren't able to be the best they can be to contribute their genius to the betterment of this country, which means they're not benefiting from it. So the bottom line is, and the problem really is the black people's problems. Because it's affecting us more directly. Okay. At the lowest level every day. Okay? So until we start acting like we have common circumstances that we're going through as it relates to racism and white supremacy, and it's affecting white folks too. Now, racism and white supremacy is not serving a whole lot of white people very well either, quite frankly, unless you one of the wealthy ones, the privileged. Okay? So until we start coming together as a group of people that have more intelligence that we seem to be exhibiting right now to work as a group, because it is a team effort. And black folks not gonna solve this problem. Black folks not gonna solve a white problem. Racism and white supremacy is a white problem. They created this. The only thing we could do is navigate through it.
All right.
So we have to start focusing on the processes and plans to navigate through this stuff. And the only way you can do it is as a team. Until we start acting as a team and working together to navigate the madness. And it is madness. We're never ever. We're gonna always have these one-offs. Where either you can solve your problem because you're wealthy or somebody know you, or that's basically it. But the rest of us collectively are going to be in trouble.
Okay, Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution. We're going to go ahead and move to break right now, and we'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 1230 AM, or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
Every day, the RTA gets thousands of New Orleanians where they need to be. Whether you're headed downtown, the Ninth Ward, or Algiers, our buses, ferries, and iconic streetcars are going your way. Rolling with the RTA is a smart way to help you save money and the environment. Download the La Pass app today to plan your ride, get real-time arrival information, or make mobile payments. Because the RTA is how New Orleans rolls.
New Orleans Burlesque is back. The Red Light District, located on the second floor of your New Orleans headquarters by Nice Guys, presents a captivating, international, award-winning burlesque experience that will leave you breathless. Indulge in the sounds of our Grammy Award-winning quartet and exceptional food pairings each and every Saturday. To purchase tickets, visit Eventbrite.com, and remember, what happens in the Red Light District stays in the Red Light District.
Hey folks, it's Dr. Shepard. You know me, I've got something special for you. Write this number down, 504-858-4696. That number is for you if you're having hair loss issues, no matter what the issue may be. It's for an all-natural ingredient formula derived by my mom, a pharmacist, in 1971. And trust me, it works. Give us a try. You can get your hands on it right now. Call 504-858-4696.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon to What's Growing New Orleans. Hosted by Angel Vanderpool, What's Growing New Orleans is a weekly conversation about developing and growing Black businesses throughout the region. Brought to you by the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, it's Dr. Shepard. I'm coming up next on the Reality Check on WBOK.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. She is coming up next.
Here I am.
Dr. Shepard's with us.
Yes.
Our number 504-582-9422. What you say, Mr. Buddy?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
All right.
All right, I got a question for Dr. Shepard. George, you got to take a back seat here.
I ain't got no problem sitting in the back seat.
Okay. The question is, why women make the majority in this country? Why is abortion more important than the price of groceries when 0.5% of the women are affected by abortion, but everybody's affected by the price of groceries?
Well, answer this question. I can't sit in the back seat on this one. I got to ask you this question, though, Mr. Buddy, before you say that. Is it more important to women or is it more important to men? Because I don't think we really determine it, because it's men that's trying to make the decision. It's for women, right?
No, I'm asking. It's a voting issue. I'm asking the question.
I understand it's a voting issue, but it's more important to men to make sure that men are the ones that are making the decision for women, right?
I didn't ask that. You're jumping over to jumping there.
But go ahead.
I asked whether it's more important for women, the price of groceries, or to get an abortion when it only affects 0.5% of the women in this country.
Apples to oranges.
I'm not following you. Is this like a survey or something that you're quoting, or are you just speaking from observation?
I'm asking a question.
Are you asserting that it is? Maybe restate the question one more time.
Talking point, and I'm asking the question.
Are you asserting that it is more important, or are you asking why? Can you say the question one more time, because it was difficult for me to follow you?
Why would the ability to get an abortion be more important than the price of groceries when it only affects 0.5% of the women in this country, and women make up the majority in this country?
Okay, so then my question to your question would be, who is it more important to? Is this who have you heard assert that it is more important.
Where is that
this
data coming
fact coming from from somewhere, or is it a survey, or is it a quote from someone?
I'm just watching the news media. And it seems like that's the most important topic, is the right to abortion versus the economy and the price, price of groceries, price of gasoline, insurance, all that.
Well, I would say this. I would say that it depends on what media it is that you're watching, because that seems to be very subjective. So I haven't heard women assert that an abortion is more important than groceries. I think that we are talking about two different issues when we speak about that, and that people can care about the same thing at the same time. I also support a woman's right to be able to make decisions about her body, and I think that that is still different from groceries. I don't think that I care that I'm asserting one over the other, and you haven't really proven to me that that is a broad point of concern, that women are asserting that their right to abortions are more important than groceries. It seems like that might be a subjective way of you looking at what you put importance to. And also let me say that if you don't have a womb, then you would think that that womb related things are not as important because you don't have one. So and that's more of a embodied position. So I would think that you possibly, if you really wanted to figure this out, then you should launch a survey and you should poll people and you should get them to explain why, have a focus group and get them to be able to explain that. But I think that is coming from your perspective. That is from your gendered, biased perspective. And that is not something that you have.
A Democratic talking point, actually.
Are you saying, so when I asked you, I said, where did you get this information from? And you said, I was just looking on the news, watching some stuff. So are you saying that if I go and pull up the Democratic talking points, it's going to say, please assert that groceries are more important than women's right to abortion? Is that what you're saying? Are you actually quoting it from someplace, or are you gathering information in your mind and then making this kind of supposition?
I'm looking at all the news media.
Okay. So again, I'll revert to what I said. I'll revert to what I said. I think that that's something from your personal perspective. I think that that's from your personal perspective, and I think that you're already biased, and you think that you're neutral. And so you don't have a womb, so you're already biased in a certain way.
I think that you basically, and I just got back in the front seat again. I sat in the back seat for a minute, but I got back in the front seat. I think more so, Mr. Buddy, if you think about it, it's not necessarily the fact that people are looking at this being more important than groceries. I think that what they're looking at is what's more important is the fact that they took away the ability to make their own choice. And then you're also looking at the overturning of Roe versus Wade and all the things that we've had for the last 50 years that add up to that conversation point. So that's why I think that there is not the percentage of how many people are having a divorce. an abortion. But the number of folks, as far as women are concerned, when they are the electorate or the majority of the electorate, that we're making decisions without involving them.
I mean, anytime that you hear, people are always talking about inflation. All of these are talking points. So I don't understand the idea that one is more important than the other.
Yes.
Like, they're all talking points. They all go out there. We could also talk about people being opposed to the war inside the Middle East right now, and war. Israel bombing Gaza right now, the genocide that's happening. Like, all of these are talking points. So I'm not going to assert that everyone thinks that one is more important than the other, but I appreciate your call.
All right, Mr. Buddy. Thank you, sir.
All right, y'all take care.
All right,
Bye.
you too. All right, more coming up, y'all. We got to take our break. We'll take a break, play some news, and take some more of your telephone calls. Plus, we've got the Tyreek Hill video. So if you're not on Facebook Live, get on Facebook Live, because after we come back, we're going to play that video for you. Everybody hold tight. News is next.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans, home of the Reality Check, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is standing by his police commissioner following an FBI investigation into the NYPD. Adams, who was Black, says he chose Edward Caban for the decades of experience he has in police work. Caban's home was recently raided by the FBI, and there are reports federal investigators are looking at whether Caban's twin brother James used his connection to his brother to illegally make money off of nightclubs. Several leading Black organizations are warning of disinformation targeted at Black Americans related to November's presidential election. A letter led by the nonprofit Onyx Impact says it is essential that Black media and Black gateway influencers and platforms have the resources and tools necessary to stem the rising tide of disinformation and provide their growing audiences with even more accurate information. A report from the organization earlier this year found that more than 40 million Americans in Black online spaces could have received disinformation about the upcoming election. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Celebrating hardworking teachers of New Orleans Public Schools is what we do best. Join New Schools for New Orleans, Allstate, Sugar Bowl, and Integer New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 3rd annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. If you want to check out the awardees and the schools where they teach at, please visit noeta, noeta.org. You can also purchase tickets to the gala via the website too. Let's send these teachers some love for all the hard work they do with our students.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Monday, and we're glad that you are part of the conversation. Gerard Stevens with you. Of course, she is here. Dr. Shepard is in the building.
Hello, people.
Want to take a moment to say to our good friends, former employee Trina Augusta, and one of my friends that I used to work over at Clear Channel, over at Q93 and WYLD, one of our best engineers, Luke Augusta, Trina Augusta, Luke Augusta. They lost their mother today. They lost their mother this morning. She passed. So we want to say to Trina and Luke, our condolences. We love you. You know, if you need us, let us know. Call. We're going to make sure you're all right. We'll make sure you're all right. So the loss of a mother is a big thing, and you never get over it. You never get over it.
Nope.
But just know you got family over here, too. So our condolences to Trina and to Luke Augusta on the loss of their mother. All right, so now let's get into this conversation piece about Tyreek Hill. You said something, too, that was interesting.
Yes.
You looked at the video part that you saw. You said it reminded you of something.
Yes, it reminded me of Sandra Bland's arrest because they used a traffic infraction to be able to pull her out of the vehicle, and it escalated to her being tackled and placed on the ground. So when I saw,
and it's not against the law to disagree with the police officer
if he disagreed, because from what he said, I was reading on Time magazine, they published an article on it. He said all he did was ask why, like what's going on. And so it seems like in his confusion, they decided to continue to escalate. And sometimes even the question, why am I being arrested, can inflame things, right? Because then they might feel like they don't have to tell you, or that your question in and of itself could be taken as being resistant. And so it leaves all of this room for people who are already irritated or may even enter into the stop with a certain type of bias or not want people to speak to them a certain way or certain power dynamics to be able to escalate right there. There's so many things that I would want to know about it. So I would want to know if the police had body cams and why not. I would want to know who the police officer was because they won't release his name to the media.
But they already put one on administrative leave.
They put someone on leave, but they don't have to disclose who the officers were. And I don't understand that policy of anonymity when they're public servants. So I think that when these types of things happen, we should also be able to see who the police officer was and what his record was like. I think those kinds of things should be released.
Somebody gonna find out who.
I would hope so. I've had friends who were shot and killed by the police, and people were demanding for their names to be released, and sometimes it just doesn't. And I don't really understand that as a policy. So, I mean, just there's a few things about the stop, but maybe we should head into the video and then really be able to dissect it.
Very good. Yes. All right, Jazz, it's on you, brother. All right, well, we told everybody now. Make sure that you got your Facebook Live on so that you can see what's going on, and you'll see why we're having this conversation. It does not show the stop from the beginning to the end. It's more so somebody, just a passerby. I don't know if this is, I don't think this is his teammates, but you do see Tyreek Hill's teammates pull up and ask what's going on. Why is he being stopped? And then another one of his teammates comes up to talk to the police saying, hey, that's Tyreek Hill. You know, that's my teammate, da-da-da. And they put him in handcuffs.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, too. All right, go ahead.
Don't know much. I think what is absolutely clear, Fred, is that the biggest headline on the first full day of the new NFL season might well have been made face down on the pavement outside the stadium in Miami. These images are quite extraordinary when you consider the stature of Tyreek Hill and how he's regarded within the NFL and certainly within Miami. We understand from his agent that he was involved in a police stop. And let's just hear from the agent, Drew Rosenhaus, about what actually happened.
Apparently got a ticket for moving violation entering the stadium. How things escalated into the situation that they were in handcuffs and being held on the ground with police is mind-boggling to me. I'm deeply concerned by that, very troubled. We will be looking into it. We will be investigating this. We will look out for Tyreek.
So Rosenhaus, the agent, Fred, saying that his client was rattled, physically okay, but mentally distraught. And he really wanted to focus on the game, which Hill is currently playing in against Jacksonville right now. He's made caught three passes in the game so far. But clearly this story is just exploding. Within the last few minutes, Miami-Dade Police Department have released a statement. This is what they have to say. We are aware of the recent detainment of Miami Dolphins player Tyreek Hill by Miami-Dade Police Department officers. This is the director of the agency speaking. I have requested an immediate review of all details surrounding the incident, and we are also reviewing available body camera footage. We will provide updates as further information becomes available. They might, in the addition of body camera footage, might want to look at some of the passerby video footage, which we have already shown you one clip. I've seen another clip, which we haven't yet cleared for broadcast, which appears to show a police officer kicking Tyreek Hill.
While he's on the ground.
He was not on the ground at that point, but he appeared to be in handcuffs. This is a man who won the Super Bowl a few years ago with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was just beginning his third season with the Miami Dolphins. Last season, statistically, he was the top receiver in the league, so an absolute megastar within the NFL. And this is a story we're going to be hearing a lot more about in the coming hours and days.
All right, there you have it. Kicking him in handcuffs.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody that just, had it escalated.
And hating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody that kicks you while you're in handcuffs.
On a power trip.
Yeah, somebody that does that, that was going to happen regardless, no matter if I said yes, sir, no, sir, or whatever, or if I just sat there and just looked at him. That person had that on his mind.
Well, kicking him in handcuffs, like Mr. Harrell said, he's going to be able to sue the pants off of those people. He don't have to play football not another day in his life if he don't want to have to.
But one of your questions was answered, too, about body cam footage.
Yeah, So they're reviewing the body cam footage.
They are reviewing the body cam footage, and then evidently there is more video of a passerby filming Tyreek being kicked by that police officer while he's in handcuffs. And then the other thing, too, I wonder, is there body cam footage or is there footage of his teammate? Because
that's what I'm interested in.
Said that his teammate came up to just say, hey, look, what did he do? That's my teammate. We getting ready to go, da-da-da, da-da-da.
Oh, yeah? Well, you get in the car, too.
They going to arrest him for interfering.
You get in the car, too. Come here.
They put handcuffs on him, too. They made him sit on the side of the street. While everybody's passing you by, you sitting there sitting on a curb in handcuffs. How demeaning.
But that's what it's meant for.
And
that's what it's made for.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. We spend too much time talking about the responsibility of the citizen, right, when it comes to these types of situations, and not enough time even talking, let alone training the police officers to handle these types of situations correctly.
Or can we go further? Can we say that some of their training is meant
to
have the situations end up like this, because these police officers are learning from the Israeli defense, the military officers for Israel. And so part of their actual training is this type of training. They had a man who was going around the country training police officers to do warrior style training. And they had a video of him saying to officers, "You all are instruments of righteous violence." And one of the police officers that took his course was the man who shot and killed Philando Castile. Okay, so in some ways, if we say better training, it's like, wait. Like, we got to unpack what even the training means.
Yeah, because right now it's straight up, right? Like, in the past, the police slogan was protect and serve. Now it's more like confine and herd. I'm saying that should be their new slogan nationwide. Confine the whatever PD here to confine and herd.
Confine and herd.
Tell me where I'm lying.
I'm just trying to take that in.
I want anybody to call in and tell me where I'm lying.
I don't think that you're lying with it. I think that we need to have more aggressive conversations about policing. I know this is about to get some people hot, but I mean, even when Kamala Harris went and said her speech for the convention, it said, and we're gonna give police money to do their jobs, and everybody like, yes, and it's like, but we just came from off of Black Lives Matter, where we wanted to defund police. So we want for you to be president, but hold on. That isn't something that it is that we want. We don't want to give police more money, especially if this kind of conversation is not about to come out as, what do we do about hair trigger, power hungry police?
You know what? I got an idea. Let's give the police more money so they could get better training.
But the thing that I fear is that will be so vague that they'll use it to get more of the worst training, and they'll turn into more brutal technologies, as opposed to having. I think that we should defund the police, but especially we need to be having the conversations around how do we hold police accountable? Like, okay, you say there's a few bad apples. I say it's systemic issues. I believe that it's systemic issues. The Department of Justice has agreed with me, because all of those police departments are under consent decrees. Okay, so that is systemic. But if we go ahead and we even say it's a few bad apples, how are we going to rid the few bad apples? How are we going to get the hair trigger police, the ones who are racist, the ones that have not unconscious bias, but conscious bias, the ones who are a part of some of these
Well, just look what just happened with the young lady
groups.
that just said, I rebuke you in the name of the Lord, and she gets shot and killed.
Exactly.
But one of the things, too, that they're saying is that these police officers that are rogue, that have those records of being rogue, they go from one police department to the other, and this officer went to 6.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is the poster child of why there needs to be some type of system that says these are the rogue police officers, these are the complaints they have, these are the issues that they've had, and why you should not hire them, and that should be a checkup on their record.
Should be a national policing,
a national police database
that holds the records, because right now in some areas, like with the NYPD, they have such a strong police union that certain unions in different places, they can, after 30 days, their record starts new, or after 60 days or 90 days, because their union is so strong that they make it that those records don't stay, are not made public and do not stay inside of the database for longer than so many days.
But is it that their union is so strong, or they don't have enough people to go against the union?
it may be a little bit of both, right? Is that the union is so strong and people are not taking down that union. And so just backtracking. So then if those police officers that are crazy, that are power hungry, that are racist, if they're not being vetted and taken out, and we have no way of doing so, and we don't have anyone calling for it to be done, and we're saying that we want to give them more money? After we just came off of a social movement to say that that's actually not what we want to do, and we need to start taking that money and funding it into ways to make people not be criminal, right? And invest inside of communities and invest inside of programs and job training and all of the other stuff that we need.
I really think you got to take a moment here and really put time frames together here, because we just didn't come off this movement. But it's been, 3 years now, at least 3 years. So a lot of people have amnesia when it comes to movements. We don't even remember what happened during Black Lives Matter. We remember the folks that died. But if you're not a part of the movement, those folks went on with their everyday lives. So what have we seen to take place between then and now to keep the movement alive? You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand. And some of the bills and legislation has died, right? So the George Floyd Policing Act,
yes.
They had the Black Lives Matter bill, all of these other things, they've lost steam as well. And it's heartbreaking to know that then the person who we all want to get in is not responsive to the fact that all of that just took place, and that even with Kamala, like I said, at the convention, giving the speech, when she says, and we want the police to get more money, people are still screaming. It was almost like anything that she said, because we want for her to be it so bad, and we like so much of the other things on her platform, but we do have to be very realistic. I like to say, and sit at the place of contradiction a little bit longer. We love everything that you have to say, but we do have to be realistic about the contradiction of funding the police. We like everything that you say, but we have to be realistic about the contradiction of you supporting Israel and their self-determination, or however it is that we phrase that phrase to make it okay for them to drop thousands of tons of bombs on Gaza. We have to be able to sit at those points of contradiction and make our demands. I don't like the idea that it's just okay, we really want this person in, and so they're going to give us more of the types of policies that we've already been against that harm us in our communities.
But honestly, I got you. But ain't that who she is?
What
you talking about?
That's
who she is. She's exactly a prosecutor.
But she's a prosecutor. But in terms of being responsive to the Democratic campaigns, the far left campaigns, the leftist campaigns that are inside of the Democratic Party, what I'm saying is we don't see enough responsiveness to that, and we don't have people who are calling them out about that. We just had all of these college students beaten on campuses, tear gassed on campuses behind Gaza. And then inside of the speech, or inside of the way that they're framing policies, there's not enough responsiveness to that. And I feel like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, yes, that is what she is.
I got you. But you're also talking about these kids that were at these universities that were not only beaten but tear gas, and they're on private universities.
Right.
So those folks that run those universities gave them the directive.
Yes.
So is it the police, or do we need to be talking to the folks that gave them that directive? Go get them.
Those were campus police, though, right?
No. Those were city police.
Oh, well, I mean, they're more the same.
Right, but you got to, because you're talking about
the
ride year. You're talking about all those folks. They didn't have that many campus police do it. The campus police let them have their protests until it got out of hand. Then when it got out of hand, it was the city that,
Allegedly.
Okay. That it was the city police, the cities that were having it. They came on these private universities. So who called them? Who called the city police? It was the stakeholders in those private universities.
The campaign contributors to the people who I'm criticizing.
Yes. They called them.
Mm-hmm.
So is it the fact that we calling the police, we getting on the police, or should we be getting on the folks that call them?
I think that there's enough room for everybody.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So I just don't want to, and I'm not debating you that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want us to say we need to go after everybody.
Yes, I agree.
Not just the police. Go after all of them.
I agree.
But they getting a free pass.
Yes. And
we put the blame on the police.
Well, I'm saying those because we're coming from off of talking about Tyreek Hill, and in the midst of
now that to me is a whole different story.
This taking place. Well, I think that what I'm poking at is the policing arena and apparatus, and the connection between the two is the politicians and the politicians asserting that the police officers need more money without giving us the ability to thoroughly vet what they say. Look, it would be so wrong for me to say it, so I'm not gonna say that. But the ability to go ahead and like thoroughly vet. You know, I was gonna say drain the swamp, but that might be that might sound like something else, right? I'm twisting something into something else.
Put her in handcuffs and put her on the ground. Put her in handcuffs and put her on the ground, Jazz.
I'm using it as a turn of phrase.
You are under arrest, young lady.
I'm turning a phrase here, but saying like we need to be able to hold the police accountable before we put more money in their hands. And so we need something that goes in there and actually says, okay, even if we're going to say that we have a few bad apples, I don't believe that. I believe it's systemic policing. But if we're going to say that it's a few bad apples, what are we going to do to get the few bad apples? I believe it's the FBI or the CIA put out that a few years ago that they had a large number of law enforcement officers that were engaged in some of these far-right racist groups. And we know that from January 6th. So what have we done with the policing apparatus, with the policing institution to ensure that that's corrected before we bring more money in?
Power. And that political power usually has a well-positioned place in making decisions. That political power usually trumps
Wait a second.
Whatever needs to be corrected, they use the same thing that we're doing with guns and the ERA. You know, the NRA, not ERA, but NRA. We know that you shouldn't be 16 years old with an AR-15 walking into school shooting somebody, but what have we done? We say, oh, never again until it happens the next time.
But I would argue, maybe you don't want to hear my opinion, because I would argue that the problem isn't the gun, it's the NRA. It is white male domestic terrorism. That is what the problem is. It's white male domestic terror. It's not lone gunmen. It's not. It's white male domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism, there would be no United States of America.
And with that being said,
am I right or wrong, Jazz?
Wait.
Ding, 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 ding.
Without white male domestic terrorism, there would be no United States of America. There has always been white male domestic terrorism in this country of ours from the beginning to now.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. We need to take the break.
I think and that's it for today's show.
Thank y'all for coming. He'll probably be mad as hell waiting for both of us outside. More coming up, y'all.
I'm not going out that way.
Me neither. I'm following you. More coming up, y'all. Everybody who'll tell you.
Hey y'all, it's Chef Bunny, and I'm the host of The Roux, where we will be discussing all things food and NOLA. You can catch me live on air Thursdays at 12:30 p.m., so check out what we'll be cooking up on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
It's Gerald McBride here, letting you know how Chevrolet is supporting the next generation of black professionals. For the 8th summer in a row, Chevrolet is teaming up with the National Newspaper Publishers Association to power the futures of 10 multi-talented, historical black college and university students with the Discover the Unexpected Fellowship. Together, these stellar fellows will drive their legacy, owning their story in the Chevrolet tracks. Visit nnpa.org/ChevyDTU to learn more.
Hello, I am Bishop Fred A. Caldwell Sr., host of the Know Your Bible International radio broadcast, which is heard here on WBOK 1230 a.m. each Sunday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. So join me here for a blessing, won't you?
Hey y'all, it's Chef Bunny, and I'm the host of The Roo, where we will be discussing all things food and NOLA. You can catch me live on air Thursdays at 12:30 p.m., so check out what we'll be cooking up on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 a.m.
I ain't ready yet.
Y'all ain't ready yet.
I ain't ready yet.
We're back.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're back.
No, we ain't. If anybody can see me, they can see that I'm happy right now. You want to talk to P-Town?
Okay, yeah, P-Town, what you got
P-Town,
going
you
on?
got to talk to her. I got to sit here and look mad at her while y'all talk.
Hey, I'm glad I ain't online, Gerard. I want to look at your little mad face.
All right, let me look at her while you're talking to her. Go
anyway, the whole thing is it's very interesting what y'all talking about. But the whole thing is, the police is literally being trained against the American people. They're not trained to protect us. It was a black thing at one time where they wasn't trained to protect blacks. Now it's getting to a point where they're not really trained to protect the American people, but to keep the agenda, to me, of the Zionists, elitists, intact. They're just like they were at one time there to protect white communities and white neighborhoods from black people. They're changing the whole dynamics of the police department, and it's working against the American people. And it's going to be eventually a time where the police are going to turn those weapons on American citizens. You know what I'm saying? Because the government is moving farther and farther away from the communities and the people. They're moving more into a global agenda. You understand that if people are not in compliance, it's going to be forced, you understand, upon us, and possibly some of us going to lose our lives. This is to me, what this police departments, the army, the military, this is what the world is coming to. And so I just say this here, we are at war. And I've been saying that for a long time. Mm-hmm. And we have to get ready. We have to get ready to protect our family. We have to get ready to protect, each other. We need to be more unified than ever. Because as long as they can keep us as divided, they can keep their agendas going, and they can keep on putting these puppet presidents in, whether it's Republicans or whether it's Democrats. Because, when you look at these people administrations and when you look at the policies, they're really not writing their own policies. These policies are being written, you understand, by people that do not care about the American citizens. When we walk out our door every morning and every evening, and we look in the sky, we see chemtrails. We see our own government poisoning our soil and poisoning our water and poisoning our air, and nobody's doing anything about it. You understand? Nobody's sounding off about it, and nobody is caring about the effects that it's having on the American people. When we look at our food chain, and we look at the poisons they are putting in our foods, and nobody is regulating these people,
right?
We are at war. You understand? We are at war with our own government. It doesn't matter whether Democrat or whether Republican. They are all the same because the agenda of these Zionists is what's ruling this country. And until we figure that out and understand, we got to come together. We have to fight together. We have to tool up together and train together to fight against this government. That's my opinion, you guys.
I got you. All right, P-Town.
I agree with you, P-Town.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Uh-huh.
You agree?
Yes.
Why?
I think that a lot of what he said is just true. I mean, they're poisoning the food, they're poisoning the water, they're poisoning the air. They won't even stop. They won't even allow us to be able to have restrictions to be like, maybe you could poison it less, right? They just went and repealed or said that they couldn't apply the Civil Rights Act to pollution in fence line communities.
Yeah, which are
And
basically
so-
black communities, just like we see in the river parishes here in Louisiana. And then you got your governor who comes down to Laplace and sits there and tells Kent and all those other companies that have been using those chemicals that are carcinogens that cause cancer, and tell them to keep on doing what you're doing.
Right. And so I see them poisoning the American people at large. I have always heard people say, you should always be prepared, especially as black people in this country.
But I
we
don't
should
think that
always
they're just
be
poisoning
prepared
everybody at
even for
large.
doomsday.
But how many times have you heard environmental injustice in white communities?
Right. They poison us more. But the general impacts of like air and air pollution, like what P-Town is saying is that in some ways they're at war with the regular citizens and they don't even know it. And I think that in some ways you could see that. If you look at the fact that all of the food is going to be poisonous, there's some organic food and some people can afford it. And even everything that they get isn't going to be organic. But for the most part, our food chain is contaminated. And so as he's talking about that, like I see it, I can see all of that. I do think that in some ways I support that. But as far as like when they're going to turn their guns on the American people, I mean, I wouldn't be able to say anything like that. I just think that we always have to be prepared. And as black people, we always have to be prepared. We just always have to be ready.
But I don't think that we have gotten to the point where this just started.
No, but I think that is intensified, should we say, since it depends on what you're talking about. Because I would say like since the 80s, but maybe it might be like the 50s, 60s that we see like large scale industrialization everywhere. The mass exploitation of our resources and how it is put in a way that makes it toxic. Think about the food chain of the 50s, is when people started to first get those oven meals that could go in and like the quick, fast, ready foods and
the microwavables,
the freezer, meals. As soon as we start to go there, I think that creates a certain turn inside of the food system. But then once you start to get to high fructose corn syrup, that becomes a whole different thing. When we get to now, it's like all these chemicals. I tell my kids if they can't read what's inside the box, if they can't read everything, we can't buy it. And so it helps them to get their reading skills up. But then it also shows them a lot of what it is that you're consuming isn't really food or meant to be consumed. So even when I just think about the food chain, if we were to go ahead and take the water, it would be a whole nother thing. Like who actually gets clean water that is actually water, H2O, and not all of the other stuff.
Okay, so let's use that. Let's use that.
Okay.
And why I kind of use the analogy of you hear those conversations when it comes to environmental injustice in black areas, but it ain't too much that you hear about those areas that mostly have Caucasian folks.
Right.
And I'm going to use Slidell or areas of Slidell first.
Right.
And that was when you had Joe Biden who introduced this infrastructure package, this infrastructure deal, and this money and the billions of dollars that was put in there. All the Republican folks were against it. And then when it passed, the first person that went and got $21 million was Steve Scalise. Steve Scalise takes that money from a bill that he said no to and goes to Slidell and gives them the $21 million so that they can get a new water system to get their, because remember, they had this water system, I think it's in Covington, right outside of Covington, that area, whatever part of the North Shore that is, that they said was, it was bad. Their water system was bad. You turn on the water faucet and you got all this dirt and all these different chemicals coming through. But yet he wanted it fixed, but he wouldn't get it fixed in any other way by getting money that he said no to. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, environmental injustice as far as, whose water's dirty, they fix theirs quick.
Oh, yeah.
What about us?
It's done in environmentally racist ways.
Yes.
But we are still, by and large, from our region, we're in a place that it has been deemed a sacrifice zone. We're in the American energy sacrifice zone. So that includes Slidell. That includes all of Cancer Alley, the place that we call Cancer Alley. Now, the white communities may receive less brunt because they're going to get newer pipes, because they're going to be further away from the refineries. But if the whole area by and large is a sacrifice zone, that's one thing. If we were to go and start to test, soil from agricultural white America, because they've run off so many black farmers, agricultural white America will find PFAS, these forever chemicals that are inside of the soil as a result of agriculture in the 80s and the government producing certain types of agriculture. So in many ways, our just entire ecosystem is contaminated. But then the ways that you then see it expressed is that if they have the opportunity to discharge, they'll do it in black areas. If they have the opportunity to place a pipeline, they'll do it through indigenous reservations and black communities.
Because they can't fight.
If they because they can't fight and they don't have the amount of political power to redirect it elsewhere. I mean, if you think about indigenous people fighting the Keystone and Dakota
pipelines.
Access pipelines, those are supposed to be independent nations. They're not just
They're reservations.
It's not just like all of the land is America and you're a reservation on top.
Right, that is sacred
it's
land.
That they're actually
That's their land.
Their land. They're actually independent nations, and so
why is why these pipelines going through it?
Should not be able to be, not without them saying that they'll do it. There's really nothing in our court system that should be able to mandate that a private company can put a pipeline through their reservation. And so the issue is that, by and large, the way that America works is by creating all of these environmental contaminants and just contaminants, period. Social contaminants, environmental contaminants, period. But the way that they will discharge if they have the opportunity is still done along racial lines, political lines, class lines, and the like.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you just made the point.
Yes.
It's still done with class.
Yes.
Color.
Yes.
Well, let me take
Power.
the class, race, power, and I would say non-power.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna do that to folks that don't have the power. It's the same thing that we saw happen here, but I'm gonna use a different analogy, and that is when we saw mental health being taken away from us as far as folks that need it. We saw the closing of these mental health facilities, and we saw that happening probably through the Bobby Jindal era than anybody else. And the reason why he thought that he could do it, which he did, was because who's the advocate for mental health? The mental health can't do it.
Right.
Because they're trying to get help. They ain't trying to render it. But those mental health advocates were folks that weren't going to be able to get paid. They couldn't do this and fight a whole government. So guess what? He had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to do. And no one there to fight against him. Interesting. All right. Who we got? Okay, I don't know what more than we can do to say, hey, look, we can go and keep fighting. Because look, the older folks that have been doing this work and keep doing this work, they're getting older and older and older.
Right.
And it doesn't look like a lot of those folks that have the ability to take the realms and go with it, they don't look like they want to even get into that fight. And honestly, after they see what's happening, why would they? They don't have the power. They're not getting paid to do it. So what you want them to do? You're looking at me.
I'm looking at you because I'm thinking back to what P-Town said then
What?
about how then it just feels like they are intentionally creating a wasteland, because that's really all that they want. All that they want is the ability to pollute, the ability to harm people without having any resistance. And I do think that there are people who are out there who are doing the work and putting up the resistance. But when we see things like the Civil Rights Act can't be applied to protect fence line communities, I think that that's sad. And it goes to show that, you know,
And that
I
came
mean,
from your Supreme Court.
right.
Supreme Court made that decision.
Well, was it the Supreme Court? I thought that it was the local court that decided that.
And I think it's going to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, okay.
So what are we going to see, though? Conservative Supreme Court probably agree with the lower court. Or
We
send
need
it
to
back
get
down.
more justices on the bench.
All right, let's go. Let's go, Gary. What you say?
Hey, how you doing?
Good yourself.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I was calling. Y'all hitting it on the number, especially Brother P Town.
Mm-hmm.
He is so true. And what like the sister had mentioned that she don't, I ain't saying that she don't recall, but that about the Caucasian people complaining about the stuff that's put in our food in the air. There is online a lot of, it's old, but it's still relevant today that they had conferences on people giving in different states giving the conference about the kids catching autism from chemtrails. There's chemtrails and there's another kind of trail from these planes. Both of them dealing with cars and people. One is one is dealing with the rain. I don't want to be too long because I know I ain't got much time. But
right, there's different types.
Yeah, different types, and one dealing with the rain. I don't know if y'all heard of HARP already. They're the one that control the weather through our heat and rain and other things. But P-Town hit it so much on, and I'm so glad y'all brought this subject up today, and I thank y'all for that. And the poison that they're talking about is in our food for real. Thank y'all for bringing that subject up today.
All right, Gary. Thank you, buddy.
Thank
All
you.
right.
So do you believe the part about the chemtrails?
Yes. I don't think that every streak of steam that we see inside the sky is a chemtrail, but I do believe that there are chemtrails. We know that there are weather modification chemicals that wind up getting placed inside of the sky. We know that they know how to create certain weather patterns, and that some of these colleges and even NASA has certain types of programs where they're releasing chemicals into the air. So yes, I do believe that they place chemicals inside of the air that can impact the ozone, that can fall on people. And there's all kinds of, if you look and don't just pass everything off as conspiracy theory, then there are people who say that they worked on certain types of programs, and they'll tell you what they did and what's being released. They had I believe it was a weather woman who attested to some of the same types of stuff recently, who had like a viral video. So, I mean, I think that there is stuff that is taking place. Yeah,
I do too. I do too. I do think that there are, but I just don't want to see it every time that there's a plane in the sky and we see a trail.
Right.
Don't think that's
it's
a
not
chemical.
Always a chemtrail.
But
there are chemtrails.
The release of that. But that most of the time when we see that in the sky, that's the release of the heat of those engines of those planes that are making those. What do they call them? I forgot exactly what they call them, but it's not chemical trails.
Yeah, it's like steam trails.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'll reserve the fact that there's also that as well.
Mm-hmm. So looks like we're doomed, everybody.
But also, let me say, I said this.
Appreciate everybody for coming. Loved you. Goodbye. Forever. We're doomed.
I was going to say that at the end of last year, you had asked what we thought the 10 biggest things were from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I said, I think one of the things that's most important that you're going to think is not important is the fact that they're cloning meat. They said that we can eat cloned meat, and that they've decided to release cloned chicken meat, lab-grown cloned chicken meat into the food chain. And that's what I'm talking about. I just wanted to make sure that we bring that old conversation back into this conversation when we talk about the food chain and contaminants and poisoning people with processed foods.
Let the chicken clone meat go.
You said
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Trump versus Harris.
Oh, I thought you was asking me if I thought Trump was like Trump.
No, Trump versus Harris. They have their document. They have their debate tomorrow night.
You mean the fight? I'm gonna see the fight tomorrow.
You think it's gonna be a fight?
Oh yeah, I think she's gonna brutalize that man.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I do.
I think that she's gonna really piss him off, and I think that he's not going to know how to respond to her. I think he's going to end up being very
crass.
Yeah, that and probably show his disrespect to women.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be another one, and I think she's going to correct him, and basically let him know, you need to really check who you're talking to. And then he's probably going to call her an ugly or mean woman because he doesn't know how to handle her, and
he can't grab her by the
and she's not gonna let him. Put your hand out here and pull back a nub. Back a nub.
And she ain't gonna let him.
And then I think he's gonna be very disrespectful to her as the vice president of the United States.
Right.
He's not gonna recognize her as that. And then over the weekend, he said that he's trying to figure out through the 25th Amendment how he can release or get rid of vice president. So I don't know if that is because he's not feeling J.D. Vance. Because I don't think J.D. Vance is enhancing his time.
I don't think so either.
And I think the other part of it is he's going to figure out how he can put those folks that have been against him in jail if he gets in office. And then as far as that Project 2025, he brought up during his speech over the weekend how he's going to get rid of the Department of Education. That is in Project 2025.
That's ridiculous.
I'm like, boy, he kept saying he was just distancing himself from it, but yet he's quoting things from it too. So I don't know. Never know. Let's take a break. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. We'll have some more conversation with you in just a minute and take our final couple of telephone calls. So everybody hold tight. There's more to come up.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a huge shout out to our teachers, school leaders, and students in NOLA Public Schools. We see you, we hear you, and we applaud your efforts. Be sure to tune in every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m. for Talk That NOLA Education.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mount Hermon Baptist Church Hospitality presents The New Black Wall Street, Saturday, September 21st at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Have a chance to introduce your products and services to a captivating audience. Calling all small business owners, food vendors, authors, body care products, wellness boutiques, clothing merchandise, and much more at Mount Hermon Baptist Church, 3512 U.S. Highway 90 in Avondale. This event is free to the public. To become a vendor or for more information, contact 504-436-8062.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, an on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
All right, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. Of course, the very smart one, extraordinaire, the doctor extraordinaire. Dr. Shepard is in the building, y'all.
Thank you. Hello,
all right.
hello.
Ty, you're on line one. How you doing, babe?
Hey, y'all.
What's happening?
Hey, Ty.
Hey, Dr. Shepard, I got to talk to you offline.
I was going to say the same thing, but okay, let's go.
Yeah. But, yeah, I just wanted to kind of chime back in on the looming hurricane or whatever, whether it be a Cat 1 or tropical storm, what have you, and just kind of give somebody some little tidbits of information, especially when it comes down to once an emergency is declared here. Hopefully the little Napoleon man declares it in time or whatever. But, yeah, make sure that when it comes time for FEMA that all of the people actually get an in-house inspection by FEMA and not virtual, because that has happened during Ida, and a lot of people were shorted the amount of money that they were supposed to get for personal property, for other needs assistance, and all of that. So just make sure that when FEMA does come out, that it's not a virtual inspection, that you actually have an agent to come out, and you can request that an agent comes out and actually inspects your home and the damage that's done, if that's the case.
All right.
Wow.
Cool then. That's it?
Yep, that was it. That's
I
all I
thought
had
you
to
had
add to
some
that.
more. I just thought you had some more. And take pictures.
Right. I mean, all of that. You take pictures, especially of your personal property.
Yep. There
You
go.
know, especially of that, because even if they didn't come in, you make sure wash and dry things like that, because there are groups outside of FEMA and what have you that have grant money to actually assist you. But being as though, I've experienced this with the St. John Parish people, and all of that, they're asking, okay, if they're asking for a washing machine and dryer, well, did they have one before? And if they did, show us a picture of it. So they may make you jump through hoops for some of the assistance, but trust me, I implore everybody to get all that's due to you.
Yep.
So whether it's Restore Louisiana, whether it's FEMA, whether it's the Roundtable Long-Term Recovery Groups, whatever it is, apply for everything that is due to you.
I'm going to have to put time on my Women in Politics show. That's what I'm going to do. Because that other thing you were talking about, I was like, you can't go nowhere now.
Yeah, just say, you know my number, Gerard.
I can call you.
Yep.
All right.
But, I just wanted everybody to be aware, because I don't want anybody caught, not getting their just due.
You got it. All right, Ty. Thank you, dear.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, Bob.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm going to ask you a question. Have any one of y'all seen that Mark Strassman's CBS little piece he did on Jackson, Wyoming?
I can't say that I have. I'm refreshers.
I think y'all should. Well, I don't think you may have saw it, but I think P-Town right we're talking about. It's all about that top 1%. In Jackson, Wyoming, they got billionaires live there, right? So the millionaires and the other poor people can't afford to live there. Some of them got to drive 80 miles to come to work, and they were complaining about how they treat them. And this is all white population. I think you should Google that tonight. You'd be surprised. They only showed it one time. And Mark Strassman from CBS, that's how I got it on my phone now. He did a special on it. You should see that and then get back with me. You're not going to believe it. Gentrification in this little area, white against white.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you, buddy.
Well, just check it out.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. I would believe it.
Yeah. Well, 1%ers, you got to have the money. It's classism.
Right.
Some people you can't live in certain neighborhoods. You can't work in certain neighborhoods. You can't do this because you're not of that stature.
Right. That's why it's stratification. It's stratification. You could be white, but not white of that class, right? It's all proximities to power. Right.
Some folks, you might look like them, but you're not. You might be the same ethnicity, but you're not. You might be somebody cousin. Cousin that treats you some way like, we good until you get in front of them.
It's proximities to power. I mean, being white gives you certain access to power, but not the ultimate class access to power.
But it's interesting to see black people
levels.
start acting that way.
Yeah, there's a stratification when it comes to black people as well. Especially, they have a lot of scholars that say after, you know, affirmative action, when we had the ability to become more mobile.
We have arrived.
When we've had the ability to have arrived, you know, become more mobile, that it creates more class stratification inside a black community.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I knew your pinky was about to go up.
What would you be talking about? I'm sorry. Could you please pass the Grey Poupon? Yes. When we start talking like this, and I'm sorry, did I offend you at this point in time, my people? Black power. The last time I heard about my black power, y'all went like, "Don't do it no more."
We had to put your hand because
excuse me.
Why?
Don't be trying to upstage me about my black power.
Because at the time you was holding the black power for Trump, some
No,
kind
it
of
wasn't.
weird
It was not
way.
for Trump.
What was it for?
It was for Clarence.
It was for Clarence
It was
Thomas.
for Clarence Thomas.
You see my confusion.
You go, black brother. That was for Clarence.
You and Clarence see eye to eye about a few things.
A couple of things, yes. What's wrong with you? No, we don't. Let me stop playing. I can't even be serious. I can't even joke with that. No. But yeah, it bothers me when I see us doing that as well. So I don't know. All right, we're about to get out of here.
Yeah, but we do have to restate what our meteorologist said, right? So he said it could wind up being dangerous. It could wind up stalling. The storm could wind up intensifying, and that we should stay tuned. He said that it's possible that we might start to feel some effects by when? Did he say Wednesday?
By Wednesday, yes. So we'll talk to him tomorrow again, you know, just to give us some updates.
Get an update.
Too. So always thank you for what you do, what you did, and what you're going to do.
Same to you.
And probably tomorrow we'll try to keep everybody updated, give them the latest forecast, you know, what's happening with this hurricane, tropical storm, whichever one it's going to be. So keep it locked in, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Coming up, we got the sports report. The sports report. Oh, Lord, no. I'm about to go classism again.
Don't yell the words you want to yell into the microphone.
There he is. Okay. There he is. Excuse me there, Grey Poupon. All right, we got to go. We'll get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Don't go nowhere because the sports report is up next, and we'll see you on tomorrow.
Take care.
From the campus of Xavier University.
Yeah.